All right, we are here for episode 3 of the 50/50 podcast.
We're changing the name to the Beanie Boys podcast now
Yeah, the
because we're both
beanie.
wearing beanies.
Yeah.
Hopefully, there's a video there so you can see what we're talking about. We're rocking it
Apparently,
today.
this is Sai's first time wearing the beanie, and I'm just wearing it because I was too busy today to do anything with my hair. I've
I
busy
just wanted to
editing.
match.
Yeah, and this is I appreciate that drive to connect, Sai, because it's been a long time since we talked to each other.
I just took off the beanie.
You said you were gonna take it off midway through, not 45 seconds into the call.
It was midway through the intro, so I kept my promise. All I gotta say.
Okay,
So I
but
can't wear beanies that much because it just squeezes my head.
it's then get a looser beanie.
Yeah, but this one's kind of cool. Like it's just
Yeah.
I don't know. It's black, It's basic.
But I thought you said you don't wear hats. Why do you like the beanie if you don't wear it?
I think I look good in beanies because it covers up the head shape a little bit, but
Why do you need to
keeps the hair
cover
in tuck.
Why do you need to cover up your head shape? What's wrong with your head shape?
No, okay, so everybody has like not like a perfectly circular head, right?
Uh-huh.
Every head is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Well, I think sometimes beanies just like they mask it, right? They mask your head shape. Like I don't think I
I
have a bad
guess.
head shape, but I think beanies just solidify it.
Wait, if you put your hand on the back of your head, right? And
Yeah,
it's like, what does your hand just like flatly fit on the back of your head?
not exactly. There's like a
Is
little.
is it rounded, or is there like a flatter part in the back of your
Oh,
head?
is there like a flat part? No, no, there's no
Okay,
flat
okay.
part.
All right. Yeah, I mean, cause
Yeah.
so like that stems from when you're like a baby and you're like your parents like rotate you while you nap, cause like a lot of times the kids they prefer one side, but then
Yeah.
they leave them on their back, and then the back of the head gets flat. And my baby cousins actually both have that, and like
Oh God.
when I was
Wait,
younger.
is that good or bad?
That's not good. That's not good. That just means
Okay.
that, like, I mean, it's not necessarily neglect, but it's also kind of just like negligence in a sort of way, right? Because like,
Yeah.
I
They're
mean,
just gonna get bullied for a flat back of the head.
because I was when I was younger. I forget how old I was, but when the little one, he's like 16 now or something. I just like put my hand on his head, like, because I'm like the older cousin, whatever, and just like we're outside, we're chilling. Put my hand on his head, and I was like, wait, like why is your head
Why is
like
it so
handled?
flat?
It felt like a handle, like it felt like it was made
Yeah.
for my hand to fit there, and I was like, huh. That's weird. And I was younger, so I didn't really know it. But then he had a little brother. That little brother's, like I think he's like 10 now or 9 or something. When he was like 6 or 7, I did the same thing. I put my hand on the back of his head. I was like, no way, it's the same thing. And then, like, I understood at that. Like, I was old enough to be like, oh, it's because,
It's the
like,
parents.
yeah. And it makes sense. And it's a sad situation. But, like, oh, man. It's
I like
just.
to imagine you go to their parents' house and then in their baby room, there's like a metal slab. And they just
Oh,
put the baby like it's nap time, and they
no.
just put him on like a metal slab that's just one flat surface.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
that would be hilarious.
it's one of those things because, like, now that having a son myself and going to all the doctor's appointments, it's kind of crazy how the doctors have to treat parents, because if you, like, I don't know if you've ever been to like a doctor situation. I mean, I know you don't necessarily go to the doctor, which should change, but like,
If I have cancer or some
oh my
life impeding
god,
disease, I don't want to know about it. The
no,
less I know, the better.
is
If I don't know it's there, it doesn't exist.
and so, like, the size situation aside, I in the past I've worked with a lot of people to get proper diagnoses. And the amount of like condescending like doctors there are in the world, that like, not even like I get it, because there's like surgeons. Every surgeon I met has been like narcissistic, like arrogant, all that stuff. Um, my the surgeon that I had for my health situation, he ended up being like the best surgeon in the world for the head and neck cancers, He
Yeah.
actually he like wrote all the textbooks. Like he's actually like a god. And I like try to get second opinions, and the doctor's like, wait, that was your surgeon? We can't give you a it was literally like, we can't give you a second opinion. So like, but these other doctors, they don't really like. I don't get why they're arrogant or condescending, but they are. And like, you go in and they like talk down to you in here and that, and people might
I
have
think
experienced that.
we need to knock them down a little bit, knock them off the pedestal.
Oh no,
What
I
I think we should do, we should, obviously it's never going to happen, but we should change the way the education system is
uh
like
huh.
structured, and we should have everybody, kids all the way through high school, whatever, we should all give them like 1 semester of medical learning,
I mean, they try
like
to.
just some medical class. Did they really try that before?
I mean, like, you have to go through biology, and then everyone fails, and then they're like, "I'm not doing this shit ever,"
That's
right?
fair.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't
but
know.
and
I feel like it's not strong enough, you
that's
know?
the superiority complex right there, though. It's like the people who don't do well in bio, and then the people who do well, and then all of a sudden they just have a god complex because they passed orgo and stuff and like that. And it's like, it's not that big
What
a
we need to
deal.
do is get rid of all the doctors in the world. Pull like a WAPL situation. Just get rid of all of them.
No, like one of
And
my
we all
friends,
start from zero.
their
We'll
doctor
discover penicillin again.
their doctor misdiagnosed them, and like, I like, and kept on like talking down to my friend, and then I just gave them like an entire like paragraph, and like predicted everything that this doctor would say. And so every point that the doctor had, my friend had a rebuttal, and then ultimately the doctor ended up listening, and I told my friend, I was like, listen, we can just get you a new doctor, right? It's easier, blah blah. And then but she was just like, she ended up following through with that doctor to the point where the doctor ended up realizing that they misdiagnosed what their own diagnosis was. And it was just like,
Yikes.
yeah, and like, that situation is so like obnoxious when you go into the med stuff, right? But then like with the baby stuff, they talk to everybody like they're like toddlers, like all the parents, and it's so interesting because like, I've have a lot of experience with doctors, and the doctors know how much I do know because they know my medical history, and they're like, oh, like, this is fine. And my son's medical history is expansive, and I had to debrief all the doctors on it, so they know. And then they're like, they're telling you like basic things, and like, when it comes to like the head rolling thing, it's like every single time they're like, safe sleep, you have to make sure you're doing this and that. And it's just like, we get it, but then it's also so crazy because there's so many, like, you just like, the kids could just pass away. It's like the craziest thing, that like, story wise, like, just having the baby in your bed, for example, that's like super dangerous. Having something
Yeah.
in their crib or like their bassinet when they sleep. And I'm just like sitting there thinking, I'm like, damn, like, my parents did everything wrong apparently, because they had all this the stuff that was problematic. Like, every single thing that my mom has said, doctors are like, don't do. And I'm like, damn, it's a miracle I'm alive, I guess. I kind of think
Yeah,
about it that
every
way.
time you go to your parents' house, your eyes gravitate towards their metal slab.
Yeah, yeah, it's just like every single thing. I've been like thinking about so many different things in relation to like raising kids, that just is like, yo, every generation we learn so much more, that it's honestly a miracle that you and I are alive. Like, when you take it into like current medical standards for raising kids, it's like, damn, you know what? We turned out okay, all things considered. We got round
It could have been
heads.
worse.
Yeah, we got round heads, and we can speak. Like, that shit's clean.
Yeah, until I get diagnosed with like 10 different diseases that are incurable.
Oh my god.
That'd be hilarious,
But
dude.
for you, it's because you don't want to go to the doctor.
Yeah, so to anybody listening right now, let me tell you, I don't go to the doctor. It just doesn't happen. Like doctor checkups, I haven't done that since I was like in middle school, high school. Like it's a thing of the past.
Oh my god.
If there's ever like something slightly wrong, I'm just like, you know what? I'll just sleep it off. It's no big deal.
This is it, I know a lot of people like you, but you are not an outlier in that regard, but you are an outlier in that, it to when in conversation or getting to know you, is very apparent. I was like, you know what? I like, you have some health issues, but you like, acknowledge it and you just push through it and you just continue, and it's like, you know what, I can't do anything about that. Whereas my other friends, I'm just like, at least in your 20s, go like twice. Go like
Yeah.
twice when the first 5 years and the second 5 years. If the first 5 years are good and like you got a clean bill of health, maybe you'll be fine in the second 5 years. But those two times to go minimum, do that, because you could avoid a lot of things when you hit your 30s. You could avoid a lot of things if you just get it checked one
Well,
time.
here's the thing, Par. I drink medicine daily.
Yeah, I'm seeing the
I got
medicine.
I got the hair of the dog right here, right?
Oh
It's
my.
the cure all.
Oh my goodness. You know, and the thing is, it's like when it comes to like the health stuff, it's like I was clean bill of health, and I was always like a germaphobe, always stayed safe, like didn't do like crazy drugs or anything like that, especially like college or when I was young, or drinking or anything like that. But then I still get cancer, right? So it's like you could do all the things right, and you could do all the
Yeah.
things wrong. It doesn't matter. But like I think at the minimum, the advice is just at least two times. At least get it checked
You know what?
twice in your
I agree
twenties.
with Par. If you're out there, go to the doctor.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the other part of it too is don't if you have family with health problems, definitely don't sleep on that,
Yeah, a lot of
because
my family like has major health problems.
I know we talked about that. I was
Well,
just
let me
like,
tell you, they didn't have this cure all right here. They didn't have the magic medicine.
oh my goodness, didn't you say all the dudes on your dad's side are like brolic, like super super strong,
Yeah,
and then
they're
you
just jacked.
and
Well,
then
then again, my okay, so my dads were from a I say my dads, my dad and uncles
no
were from a different
dads.
era. Like first off, my grandpa fought in the war.
Which
Second
war?
off, I don't even know, dude.
Oh my god.
He has like these
The
military
war.
jackets. He has just yeah, I don't know what side he fought for, so
To be
I'm just gonna
fair,
say he fought in a war.
like I think like most immigrant parents, like if they're
They kind of
past
had no
like,
choice, right?
yeah, if they're older than like 55 or something, they might have been part of a few
Yeah.
wars.
So I know my dad's side grandpa fought in a war. My mom's side grandpa also fought in a war. And
Was
then
it the
when
same
my
war?
I don't know.
Oh,
I mean, they were in different countries. So both my mom and dad are from different countries
okay,
altogether.
got
And
it.
then when my dad's side of the family came here, it was a different era here in America from what I understand. There weren't a lot of Asian people, just bumbling around. So they
Especially
got
not
into a
in
lot of
Oklahoma.
from what I know, they got into a lot of like gang activity. Some got thrown in jail, some have, law trouble. And just one thing led to another and you worked out a lot. They didn't have an Xbox 360. They couldn't just, hop on board the good old COD Modern Warfare 2 lobbies. They were fighting to the death out there. And it
Yeah,
helps. It doesn't help that they didn't speak English, so it's like, they're just they're trying to survive, and the best way to speak the international language is muscles.
yeah, it's kind of oh man, this is a whole separate conversation, but like what you just said, like they didn't have other options in what they did, right? It's kind of like back in the day, the situation, I think you said like they were in Cali or something like that, and
Yeah.
for Asians in Cali back in the day, it's like being in public was like a prison, like because every it was like gang, like, okay, so this is like a real thing, and maybe you
Like
know more
GTA
about it.
5.
Yeah, but like the real situation is that what's it called? Like it was so crazy that they banned nunchucks in
Yeah,
California.
nunchucks were banned.
Right, like, yeah, can you sit everyone take a moment and think about that. Like we can't
Bro, they
ban
banned
guns.
nunchucks.
We can't ban
Those are
guns
illegal
right
to
now.
have. Those were weapons, man.
And it's like, how crazy were the Asians back then? Like
Have you used nunchucks before?
I have, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like did you at any point while using like the nunchucks, did you think you could kill somebody?
yeah. Yes, only because I thought I could kill myself with them because no one taught me how to use them. It was just a menace to myself, so I figured like, hey man, there's a 50% chance.
So you know how like a lot of Asian people like dominate the esports scene when it comes to Valorant,
Yeah.
Osu, League, and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it spawned from nunchucks.
Why
Like the hand-eye
nunchucks?
coordination, like the reaction time, like it started with nunchucks.
You know what? I'm not even gonna push back on that. Why? Because like yo-yos. Yo-yos weren't like a leisurely toy. They were made as weapons in like ancient. Can you imagine like in like Alexander the Great rolls up with a knight, horse, and like swords, and then you're just fighting man like a string weapon. It's like what the, and losing like
Well, wasn't you know the little ball game where like it's I don't even like it's a handle that has a platform and you're supposed to like bounce the ball off of
yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
and balance it. So that used to be a weapon too. Like instead of a ball, it was like a dagger, and they would just like pew, 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 and it would just come
What?
back.
No
Yeah, it was.
way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dude, medieval people were crazy with their weapons,
Wait, that's wild. What
and
do you
then as it
mean?
got revolutionized, it just became a toy.
Can someone in the comments tell us what the name of that one is?
Yeah,
Because I
if
am
you watch old
interested.
documentaries, then I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
That's great. Yeah, but like, and that's like the thing, right? Because it's like Asians never had normal weapons. Like I remember, like in India, they
Hey,
had
where's our baseball bats, man? Like what's going on
yeah,
here?
like why didn't we have normal things? Like we had like even like bow and arrow, like our the ones I'm thinking about, the Mongolian like horseback riding, they would shoot off bow and arrows. And yeah, the European people do it, but like I'm pretty sure in Europe it was more standard to have like like a sedentary like bow and arrow situation. You're like chilling,
Yeah,
whereas like the Mongolians were like bouncing up and down and still using bow and arrows at the same time, and then they like adapted so that their hips like disjointed so that they could bounce and their upper body stays still. And then
that's a strategy.
on top of that,
Everybody, break your hips.
yeah,
It's time to fire.
they would use hawks too, and it's like maybe I'm just like discounting the European weaponry, but like but then like I think it's like India or at least the subcontinent India, they made like whip swords. So like the swords, there were swords but they were like flimsy, so you could just like whip it, kind of like Diamante from One Piece, right? Like it was like literally like that, and it was like the craziest weapon because like most of the time you just hurt yourself, but like it was really deadly because it's a sword and has crazy reach, and it's like a whip, but it's also a blade. And it's like why? Like why didn't you just have normal stuff? Like
Because it would catch people off guard, you know?
yeah, and
It
like
would take too much time like learning your abilities.
like I'm all about innovation. I feel like last episode we were talking about innovation. Or no, it was on my stream about how like air fryers upset me, and like did how do you feel about air fryers?
I don't mind them. I don't really use them though.
Okay, so like air fryers bothered me when my wife like or it was like during the pandemic they like became super popular, right?
Yeah.
My wife had always like as soon as an air fryer came out, like the first one on the market, she's like, we need to get it. And I was like, I was just like, no. And she was just like, okay, because it's like super new, right? And then like it started becoming trendy, and like more and more places got it, and she keeps on bringing it up, and I kept on saying no. And then finally she was like, wait, why? And I was just like, because I looked into it, and I'm mad about it. And she's like, what do you mean? And I was just like, it's an oven or a toaster with a fan. That like it that if the fact that that's an innovation in 2020 is just upsetting to me, and I don't want it. And she was so mad at me. I remember she was just like, "This is why we don't have an air fryer." And I was like,
This is why we aren't eating healthy foods.
I was just like, it's on the print. Yeah, it's like it's so much healthier because you don't use as much oil and all that stuff. And I was just like, it's a principle thing. You're telling me we had like ovens and toasters for like like 150 years, and we couldn't add a fan for all this time. Now for 2020 for us to get a fan, like a fan air fryer thing, and I don't know why. Like my brain just went there with the innovation thing. Like us Asians,
I
we
think
did too
air fryers are
much.
kind of, I just like how easy the process is to fry things.
Yeah, yeah. No, I definitely like it, but like I, you know, going back to the stem of the conversation, it's like
Like,
We
okay, imagine this. Okay, here, let me hit you with the hypothetical.
uh
Let's say the new iPhone drops, and the new iPhone looks and is shaped exactly like the iPhone 1, and it has reduced capabilities from the
the,
outside, but like the hardware is actually super advanced.
okay. Do you know how
Would you
small the iPhone, like the first iPhone was? That shit
let's say
was
iPhone
tiny.
4. Let's
No,
bring it back
those
a
are
little bit.
tiny. Like
Yeah,
every
yeah, no,
like
exactly. Like would you buy it?
no. Wait, are you an iPhone or Android?
I'm an iPhone guy. I mean,
Oh,
I did both. I dabbled in a little bit of both, but I landed on iPhone. I just like how user friendly it is.
I mean that makes sense. If you don't use like I have both. I use the Android for my primary thing, but I use
Yeah,
iPhone for
for drug deals.
exactly. And so like it's so much easier to communicate with the masses because the masses use the thing that's easier, right? But the
Yeah, I like
Android,
the iMessage, bro.
I customize stuff, so everything I do. So Android's really useful for me. But that's interesting. That's interesting.
I
I pegged you
customize a
as
lot of things on my Android, and that was like one of my favorite parts. But after a
yeah,
while, I was like, man, I like the iPhone better.
yeah, because I know
I
you're
don't know what
like
it's just the look of it.
your setup and everything. I know how you are behind the scenes, and I'm like, huh, you peg me as an Android person, but that's interesting. Do you wait? Do you use your phone like often throughout your day, or are you sitting at your computer?
Uh, I use my phone sometimes, mainly just for playing gotcha games. You know,
Sure. Wait, do you?
I
Why don't
play
you?
phone games.
You
What's
don't
up?
stream those?
My phone games? No,
Yeah.
no. Like the only gotcha game I have is like Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, and I hop on it for maybe like 1 minute a day.
Huh. Huh.
I get the dailies
Interesting.
in, and then I'm out.
All right, but going back what you're saying, no, I wouldn't buy the new iPhone if it was the old thing, but like new hardware.
Okay, wait. How about this? How about this? They release a new gaming console, but the
I
concept
hate
is
gaming
that the game
consoles.
is that it's a real life interaction, and it's actually just a ball that bounces off a wall. Would you buy it?
I need wait like does the ball do it like it's an actual console? Like it what does it
No,
do?
it's not actually a console, but they market it as a console.
No, I won't buy
But it's
it.
like a hit craze.
It's a hate no, I hate
Let's
crazies.
say all your family members, your family friends, they all have this like new quote unquote console, and it's just a red rubber ball that bounces off a wall.
I hate crazes. I hate trends. I hate everything about those things. I'm always the
Trends are
loser.
funny.
I'm always the loser who it did something like when it was uncool like 5 years before. Like it's not even like people say like oh I did it before it's cool. Like it's too early to even say that. Like I'll just do it and then people do it much later. And I'm just like yeah I already like I get it. And then like my wife will participate and she's like well I used to love doing this stuff. I was like yeah keyword used to like like every time like social like I remember like, when Twitter came out it's like I got it when I always got everything when it released luckily I had a computer and all this stuff so I was able to I always liked exploring things and then it wasn't like Snapchat Twitter all those things they weren't cool immediately but then like when they got cool that's when I was like I'm okay like and then when Snapchat died that's when I started using it a lot more because
Dude, Snapchat's dying hard.
do you still use Snapchat?
No, no, I haven't used Snapchat in I think 4 years.
Dang, I still use Snapchat. I use it for like all my close friends. Like all my close friends, we still use
Yeah,
Snapchat. And it's just
I'm
like,
like on the verge of debating it every single day of my life because I never even open
wait,
it.
why don't you just delete it?
Because I have the perfect number of apps on my homepage,
What do you
and if I delete Snapchat, then it's gonna be missing one spot.
then just replace it with one of your games?
I don't want to get a new game. I already have my games on there. You know, like I'm pretty OCD. Like it's got to be a neat and even
Do you
number.
have Be Real?
No,
That's the trendy thing right now. It's like it's about to be uncool, I feel like, very soon. Like it's so mainstream, it's not that trendy. Just get Be Real. I don't have it. I don't have it, but you should get it and replace Snapchat. Do you know what it is?
no. I'm assuming it's like an Instagram filter kind of thing.
It's like I forget some social media person made it. I don't know what it is. I heard about it a long time ago and I was like, it's cool. And then it released too late. Like they did like a venture capitalist startup, I think. But essentially it's like everyone worldwide gets a notification at the same time and when that notification drops, you take a picture of what's in front of you, and then it flips the camera and it takes a picture of you, and then it posts
Oh, so it's
automatically.
literally like a B reel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And then so then when that posts, then you can see everybody else where they are right now, what they're doing, and it's like, and then it
That's a cool
deletes.
concept.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it goes away after 24 hours too. So it's kind of cool. I'm just
It's just me on
too.
the toilet.
Yeah, no, it's like
uh,
like, so I think you gotta install your B reels. Like, you can't see other people's B reels until you
yeah.
post yours. And like, I forget how someone told me, like, because my wife always posts it, like, her and our son, and like, people are just like looking forward to that, and it's like a daily, like, they just get to see our kid, and I'm just like, that's so interesting. And my wife's like, you should be on it, then they can see more. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm not trying to, like, I hate social media.
You just be on the toilet too.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm mostly at the computer anyways. I feel like that's why I
Yeah.
don't use social media that much, because I'm like reading articles, or like reading news stuff, or that kind of thing, or listening to news. I don't know. I just feel like the only time I'm on my phone, like outside of like work, like YouTube stuff, is TikTok. I just scroll through TikTok. And
Scroll through TikTok for a couple hours.
yeah, TikTok's my way to like stay attached to the world, I feel like,
Yeah.
because um I use my feed really interestingly, um where I like everything, and everything that I like, because I mean, I generally like everything, whether it's
Yeah.
like, even from makeup to tech to news to like dumb drama stuff. Not dumb drama stuff, I don't, and to baby stuff, all that stuff. I like all of it. So my For You page is like super diverse, and I get to see all these different trends. But if I didn't have that, then I would be stuck, like, I would be like, oh, did you hear about Russia, with my wife? My wife's like, no one cares about that stuff, and I'll be like reading like science breakthroughs and.
Oh, I thought you were gonna talk about like Russia just invading Ukraine today or something.
No, I mean,
Like
that
you're like
stuff.
a whole year behind the news.
That stuff hits like TikTok, obviously,
Yeah.
but like, like the popular stuff, the trends, the various things. I'd be under a rock if I didn't have TikTok. That's what I use it for. But you use TikTok too, right?
Yeah, I hop on it every now and then.
Yeah, there's a.
Just for a good old laugh and a meme while I'm like waking up in the morning. That's it. I get off of it.
What's your For You page look like?
It's I don't even know. It's like incoherent jokes.
Incoherent jokes.
Like imagine this, right? Imagine a guy walks through a door, and then all of a sudden there's a fish on the side, and it says "Gubo ga," and then the guy starts laughing, and then that's the end of the meme.
Huh. I I
Yeah,
There's
so
a
it's like
really.
nonsensical memes.
Wait, I'm on a side of TikTok. It's like Fever Dream TikTok. Do you?
Yeah, it's like fever dreams in a way.
Oh yeah, dude, that stuff is so, like, I don't know how those people think of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's very somnolent, you know.
Yeah, it's
It gets me
interesting.
somnolent.
There's like this one girl who just is like, I think she's the master of fever dreams. Like, she'll like script out an entire video, and it goes
I
from
know who you're
like,
talking about.
you know who I'm
I don't know
talking.
her name, but I know who you're talking about.
Like, it'll be like a park slide, and then like you turn over, then there's like a man standing there with the ice cream, and then the ice cream falls and it hits the ground, and then you're looking at the sun, and then you're on the beach or something, and then there's like kids with floaties, and then they hit you with a floaty, and then your teacher's teaching you math the next. It's like the craziest thing, and I'm like, how does someone even think about this? Like, and then.
They just put a bunch of ideas in a hat and just pick them up and you're like, all right, we're gonna throw this in there, this one, we're gonna pick all this.
No, and then what's crazier is, like, it's not just her. She has like a whole group of friends, or like a cast, and I'm like, how do you
Oh
even
yeah,
convince people to be a
the whole
part of
last
this?
production.
Like, and then communicate, like, here, listen, we're gonna do A through Z, but we're gonna go A J L T, and then your friends are like, huh? And then you're like, just trust me, and then they do it, and I'm like, you know what? This deserves a like. This deserves a post, like a
That
comment.
was some hard work they put in.
Yo, some of those things, but then, what's crazy? It's like, like, I watched a TikTok today. Um, this guy, this was like a real life thing. There's no way this is fake. It was a guy who was yelling at a dog owner because his monkey was riding a bike, but the dog was attacking his monkey. And so his monkey was trying to ride a bike, and there's a dog trying to attack him. He's like, "Hey, get your dog off of my monkey. He's trying to ride his bike." And I was sitting there like, this is someone's reality right now. Like,
The world is vast, Par.
yeah, that's what, I was because I'm like editing one of my videos for YouTube, and like the concept is kind of like our world is crazier than the fiction that we're reading. And I'm sitting there looking at like clips of like if you Google like our, or not, YouTube, like our world in 4K or something, you just see some of the craziest like scenery things that like you would never, like most people don't experience. Like I'd say 99% of the people, even today, even though we have so much means to see all those things, they don't have the time to like go out and see like the world like that. And it's just like, man, it I feel like the news and the world that we see on like TikTok and drama and stuff, it makes our world feel so narrow. But then it's so much bigger, so much more powerful.
We need to make the world more compressed.
More compressed? What do you mean? Like the
So,
line, like the
like the size of the world.
the size of the world, like Honey I Shrunk the Kids, like that,
Yeah, well, more
like we're
everything is so
giants.
far away.
Uh-huh.
So I just compress it.
Wait, do you know about the line, like the UAE, like the Dubai thing, the
Oh
line?
no.
You don't know the line? Oh my God, I thought you.
What is the
The
line?
line, it's this like utopian city thing that they proposed, I think, last year. So like these Arabian princes, the oil barons, right? They all came
Yeah.
together in like Illuminati, right? And they're like, how do we pitch a new kind of city?
Why
Um
do they call it the line? Wait.
it's
Why not call it Utopia?
no, no, no,
Why
no,
the
no.
line? It's like a
It
bad, TV show.
Exactly. No, 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 no. Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go Google it, and then, because I'm not gonna do a great explanation, and I'm just gonna hope Sai understands because I wasn't prepped to explain it. But the line essentially is, yes, like all the aristocrats over there came together and were like, how do we put our endless money towards a future where we can also get investors, foreign investment as well, and pitch a new type of city that doesn't exist, because that's exactly what our world needs, a new type of city. And the concept is solving what you just said. We need everything close together. So what they did was they took a city and designed a line. The entire city is one straight line where there's levels to it, and there's like a residential level, and there's like other things, and then it all kind of blends in, but it's essentially a straight line through the desert. And on both sides of this building line thing is a mirror, so you can't even like see it, and it refracts the light, so you're not even getting like global warming type of thing. And the inside is just like completely AC and like all this stuff, and they have like greenery on top, so that it's like eco-friendly. This is how they pitch it, by the way. It's not going to
Yeah.
be normal at all. And then so like I think the way it is that, like, the wealthier would live in the middle, and then as you stem out, it's spread out. But then the idea is that everyone would work pretty much like a minute away from where they live, because you just go like upstairs, or you just go like to the side or something like that, and everyone would live essentially in the same building, and you could just look all the way down and see everything. And that's kind of the concept of the line. There's so much more. Like there's a whole visual, like they got all like the 3D artists on board on this, and it looks really cool. And then you sit back and like, huh,
Would that
why?
work?
Yeah, like also why? Like this doesn't.
Imagine like everybody just like agrees, like, yeah, this is a great idea. Like Joe Biden just comes out of nowhere, like, oh yes, please sign me up for this.
No, I mean they have enough
People,
money
let's
to
go
make it.
to the line.
It's just like it's just like the craziest thing, because I don't know what like global catastrophe it's preventing or solving, because like it's just like it's like the Great Wall of China in the desert, and like and then it's like what about airports? What if something messes up? Like how do you get there? Like do like I don't know. There's just, don't you need more lines? Like you need more lines next to it, just in case one of the lines mess up. I just feel like there's not a lot of like it's one of those ideas where it's like the people who thought about it only thought about the positives and didn't think about like the fail safes. And then when you start thinking about like how to prevent failure from happening, you realize like wait, like
I just can't imagine like all the world's leaders just come together and say, "Yep, this is it. We're all on board.
yeah,
Sign us up."
yeah, it is. It's interesting because you know, so the country I'm from, or not I'm from, but like you know, my parents are from, is Bangladesh, and like the other company me and my wife work for, is essentially like an educational company, that kind of thing. And so I started making content related to just letting people know about what's going on there. And one of the things that is like an actual issue is that Bangladesh is going to be one of the first countries to disappear from like the entire globe because it's 75% of it's underwater and like or below sea level, and the sea levels are rising.
Damn, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, and then there's the doomsday iceberg that we talked about in the first episode,
Yeah,
that they're like, you know, they're like, "Oh, I wonder why the water levels are, I wonder why it's cracking so fast." And then they're drilling holes into it. But, you know, it's just it's goofy. But so the water levels are rising, Bangladesh is going to go under, and like they have a lot of accolades, I guess. I don't know the right word right now. For the disaster relief that they're doing, right? But they have
I'd
no
say accolades
funding.
is right.
Yeah, but they have no funding. So like so one of the things that like the World Bank came out and said is that Bangladesh in the last 50 years has de uh prevented decreased deaths from cyclone related deaths 100-fold, which I don't even know what that means. Like 100-fold kind of just means that no one's
Like
dying, which
patting themselves on the back, like nobody died of cyclones this year.
but it's not even Bangladesh, it's the World Bank. Like they're like, that's a completely third party entity. I was like, that's an interesting stat. But then they also, the UN gave them an award, or not an award. They Bangladesh is the world leader in bringing back hydroponic farming, which was like like the Mayans used to do it and stuff like that, but Bangladesh kept it within that region, and it was so valuable that the UN recognized it, and so they have people teaching other places around the world in university setting, all that stuff. And it's like it's crazy because like all that stuff gets no funding, absolutely no funding. But then you have these like crazy dudes, they're just like, you know what,
The line.
the line.
The
Exactly.
line, dude.
This is
Check
gonna
this
save us
out.
from everything. And then but and then you sit back and you're just like, one earthquake, one tidal wave, one
That's what I thought of
hurricane.
too. I was like the earthquake would destroy that line.
Yeah, like I mean, it was just the earlier.
Like I don't want to say anything because like, well, they said they're gonna do it in a desert, so maybe like the chances of an earthquake are less, but you'd have to like account for fault lines and you'd have to account for so much. Like one minor disaster would destroy the line.
You heard about like the earthquakes last month, right? Like in
Which
the
one?
specifically Turkey and Syria had
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
the
yeah.
craziest earthquakes. But you knew that the first time, I think Turkey had another earthquake like last week. It was a lesser magnitude, but given that it would be the third earthquake in quick succession, that's like
Yeah,
ridiculous.
those people out in Turkey are fighting a raid boss over there, man.
Bro, it's the craziest
The
thing
earthquake raid boss.
because like the disconnect that people have for like, you know, people, some, oh man, the kind of things that were being said, it's like, oh, they deserve it, or oh, it's a war torn country, oh, their architecture isn't up to grade. I'm like, bro, they got double whammied with like what, eight magnitude eight earthquakes. I'm like, could we live through that? That shit's crazy. What do you mean? Like our cities would not
I like
stand up
to
to that.
imagine like the earthquake hits us and I look outside the window. I'm like, oh, I think we're safe. And then somebody points like, no, look, there's a minor pyramid over there. That's from like 1800s. It's old architecture. We're fucked. It dooms the whole country.
It's so,
That's it.
but and what was crazy, right, was people were like disconnected with the fact that all that stuff was happening. Um,
Yeah.
but apparently there was 18 earthquakes worldwide that same time. So one in Syria, one in Turkey, but 16 separate ones across the entire planet. I think Alaska was one of them. I was like, what? All in the same day. And
It's like somebody unleashed Geostorm. If you ever watched that movie.
I haven't. I only know like Geostorm. That feels like in the same. Like I would watch on the same channels like Sharknado and like
Yeah, where it's like
Yellowstone.
they like developed a weather device that can cause like natural
Oh
disasters
my
and stuff.
goodness. Yeah, yeah. So like that
That'd be crazy. That'd be
things
the
like
best way to win a war, right?
oh 100%,
Yeah, just
100%.
like, oh, like I don't like this country. Send an earthquake their way. 10.0.
I mean that
Crank it
is
up.
so that is a conspiracy theory, right? Like people think
Yeah.
that we can control the weather, which we can, but not to the extent that I don't say not to the extent that people think because like I'm low key
Not
on the board.
geostorm levels.
I, it's,
Geostorms over here causing the Great Flood part. I don't know
yeah,
if they're
yeah,
gonna.
yeah, yeah. I know
I
what
don't
you
know. I
like.
don't
We
know if
can't do
all of a sudden
earthquakes.
America's gonna be like, all right, time to unleash the Great Flood and the Great Earthquake. It's like we're summoning icons from the Final Fantasy universe.
Like
Ifrit pops out of a volcano and just like immolates everybody.
it's it's crazy because like technically we have the technology to do stuff on
Yeah.
that level, and the facilities are there, but like have we done it? That is the question that people think that China and the US are both have been doing that. And I'm like,
That'd be kind of dope.
and that is why like certain regions are more affected than the others because they're like shielding these other regions. And the reason so like to skip through, people are like, what is part talking about? Essentially, like if you were to affect the ozone layer, which is possible with certain, I forgot, like satellite machines with certain wavelengths, like you could affect the ozone layer. That would affect the how the earth heats, and then you could essentially like focus different like rays, cosmic ray, sun radiation on specific parts that would heat things up, that would cause storms, that kind of thing. um that was very brief of the explanation, and obviously most of it is a conspiracy theory because it's not like the US government's going to be like, yeah,
Man, that explains so much. That
yeah,
explains why Oklahoma has tornado. Like we're nicknamed Tornado Alley. We just get hit with so many tornadoes here,
it's and like they think
perfecting the tornado technology.
the idea was that like in order to shield ourselves from certain disasters, they were using that, unintentionally causing greater disasters later on. Because, like, I think, like, the ultimate understanding is that there's no amount of human intervention that we could have that would save us. If the Earth wanted to delete us off the planet, it could instantly.
It's like me and going to the doctor. Like we'll worry about it later, you know. If I'm gonna die of a crazy disease, and it was always bound to happen.
Yeah, yeah. You know what?
Yeah,
Like I
all
can agree with
comes
that.
full circle.
I can
It,
agree
it
with
wraps
that.
around me going to the doctor.
I can agree with that to a certain extent, right? Because, a responsible person might go to the doctor once or twice,
Hey,
and
we
then
don't. We'll worry about it later.
at least
We'll
like a
we'll,
few
we'll shoot
decades.
now. Worry about the target later.
And then the doctor would say like, "Oh yeah, if you just like do X, Y, and Z, you'll probably not get cancer." And then you listen, and then you avoid disaster, right? And then but at the same time, right, my story is like I did all the things, I did all the right things, but I couldn't avoid the disaster. The disaster is coming, but in my case it's about preparing for it, right? And
It's like It Follows. Have you ever watched that movie?
no, what's it follows?
It Follows is a STD demon
What?
where okay,
What?
so hear me out. The
No.
movie.
What do you
No, no,
mean?
wait, 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 hear me out,
No,
hear me out,
no,
hear me out.
you don't say STD demon, hear me out. That's literally
Wait, 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 wait,
no,
wait.
I'm not
It's
hearing
cool.
you out.
It's cooler than it sounds. Okay. So only one person is hunted by the demon at a time.
Uh-huh.
And the way you're hunted is by it's kind of like an STD. Like, let's say I have it, right? Let's say I go out, I have sex with somebody. That person is now being hunted by the demon. And they're
Mm-hmm.
hunted until they have sex with another person. It just keeps on transferring and transferring. But the demon, the STD demon, the way he kills you or approaches you is that he takes the appearance of somebody you know, and he just slowly walks towards you. He doesn't speak, he doesn't say anything, he just slowly walks. So
Uh-huh.
that's like you and the disaster that's coming. Like you are being hunted by the STD demon, and the demon is slowly walking towards you at all times.
And in order to get the demon away from you, you have to pass it on.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if you pass on the demon,
What a
if it
cursed
kills,
concept. This is a movie?
yeah, if it kills its target, it goes down the list. So like, let's say I pass it off to some person, and this girl dies, the demon will now come back to me. So you kind of hope that the chain keeps on going, right?
No, you know what? That's at okay, that whatever you're talking about, movie, TV show, game, cursed concept, because that's like
It was actually a really popular movie. It might get a sequel.
which is, because like people actually do that in real life where they pass on STDs like knowingly. I forget what they're called. Oh man, that's such a gross
They're
thing.
like STD bounty hunters, is what you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. But to bring it back, it's like you know what? That's not a false thing. We're ultimately we are running from the demon, and it's more so like like Elon Musk, right? Not to make him a regular thing, but which we are. Um, people are like,
Every episode. Well, talk about Elon Musk real quick.
yeah, he
I
wants us
love
to go to
that.
Mars, right? And then people
He
are
always
jumping
comes
on
back.
board. But the thing is, like, people want the problems on Earth to be solved, and there's like this dichotomy of like, why are we putting money into going into space and going colonizing Mars when we have problems on Earth? And then the other side is like, well, in order to offset those problems, let's go to Mars, and then that'll solve a bunch of problems. And then in my take is like, damn, you know what's crazy? It's like we'll never solve the problem. We're just gonna continue to pass on the problem. So the Mars people, they're gonna have the same problem, and then like one day it, like who knows? Maybe that's how Earth got populated in the first place. How are we supposed to know? Like it was just some other colony that populated the Earth, and then we
They were
just
also running from problems.
yeah,
It was Greta
exactly.
Thunberg burning down the world. Like, we gotta go. We
Oh
gotta go to
my
Earth, guys. Come on.
god.
Planet Zeta is fucked. We gotta go. Greta Thunberg is crazy.
We're gonna
And then
make
they're
it
like,
a
we can't let her offspring into Earth. And then she makes it here anyways, and now she's like the herald of death.
do you think in every do you think that's a possibility that we had like we were an offshoot of a dying civilization and we just like forgot everything?
Nah.
No, you think like so in terms of creationism, we came from like a tadpole. That tadpole
Yeah.
grew legs, walked, and this is
Just
the first
billions of
place.
years of like evolution.
What about the ancient alien stuff? You
Man,
you watch that stuff, right?
I wish ancient aliens were real. I mean, you know what? Low be it for me to say, maybe ancient aliens did visit us at some point. Maybe they did help build the pyramids and, dropped off some random technology and then yeeted it out of existence out of nowhere. I mean, I'm all about it. I think it'd be really goofy. I'm all about the goofiest timeline.
Uh-huh.
But you know, if I had to put my money down on something, I don't believe in ancient aliens.
Got it. But so though, like you know what I'm talking about, like that TV show with the crazy
Yeah.
aliens, guys.
Not a dude, it's not a TV show, it's a cult. It's a whole ass like 10 series plot that evolves every episode, and every
Yo,
episode exists to debunk the last one and add more random information.
there was a few episodes I liked, but I think they were like in the first season and the fourth season, and then
Yeah.
like I remember when I told like my friends about it, like when I was younger, they were like, "Isn't it like not isn't that?" They're like, "Oh, that's so crazy," and then they start watching it, and they started believing it way
Oh
more than
no.
like
Oh
I
no.
like intended. I was more pointing out. So the episode I really like and I remember is the World War II stuff, because the World War II stuff they used a lot of like real stuff, and then they like tied it to crazy things, and it's like I low key believe the World War II stuff. I
They got him.
low like
They got far.
the World War II stuff high key makes sense to me. the Egyptian stuff, because like I was watching the Joe Rogan podcast, like his things.
And
I
it's
think
not St. Elmo's fire. It's a celestial being. God,
like
they're attacking.
I was seeing like Joe Rogan, he loves to bring up these things like how it's
Yeah.
not, they had to be a high tech civilization that just got wiped out. It's like, and then he pulls like the most like the craziest example and whatever. And you know, I've never seen him reach for the coolest one, which I've never seen be debunked, but like I'm sitting there like, man, like one of the things was like, well, we've never demonstrated that these primitive techniques work for like the pyramid. I'm like, why would we, like, why would we have like a, who's funding like hundreds of like thousands of slaves, right? Because that's how they did it. and
Yeah.
and whipping them night and day to push giant like 10 tons like
The king had so
stones.
much power back then, though. Like, if he
Yeah.
wanted some random thing done based off of like a like, honestly, the king could have just had a dream. Like, I was visited by eagles in the night. They had human legs and human feet, and they said to build the pyramid. So now I want all my subjects to build this. We're gonna have the slaves of war do this, and boom, the pyramids are built. But then again, like the positioning of them was uncanny.
Yeah, no, like I get that. Like there's probably a lot of
It's
people who
crazy.
who believe that stuff. I'm not saying like it's it's 100% null. It's just like the it's just ironic. This is my favorite take of it. It's ironic that that entire show is a bunch of white dudes, right? It's ironic a bunch of white dudes are there debunking the again accolades, but the success of a bunch of non-white like civilizations, because that's like we I think I talked about in my previous stream. It still to this day it blows my mind. And one of, I think like if I were to go back in time, I would say I would be the person who counters this. But the Mayan civilization is concurrent with Oxford University. Oxford University and the Mayan civilization existed in the same time period. Isn't that the craziest thing?
That is kind of nuts, actually.
He like Oxford University 900 years ago or whatever, we have more than enough text to prove that existence, and that is when the Mayan civilization was apparently like 900 years ago. That's the end of the Mayan civilization. 900 or something like that. I forget when it was. But
I I wish the world, so going back to when I said the world was more condensed, I wish the world was condensed. Like all the filler is gone. Like we wipe out 50% of the ocean, we make the earth smaller so that
mhm.
all these different things like Oxford and the Mayans had it like would have a chance to collaborate because they're like, "Oh, look, hey, the
No,
Mayans are like across the street."
they did have a chance to collaborate, and then Oxford was like, or not Oxford, but you know the civilization around Oxford was like, nah, we better. And then they just wiped
I
them
like
out.
that. I
You,
like that.
oh my god. And then I just talked about it. You know, Bangladesh was the hydroponic farming. The Mayans were the first or the best, greatest at that. I'm pretty sure that that was like
Yeah.
one of the bread and butters of it. And we lost it because of Oxford University. And then we have dingus bananas. Like now all of our bananas are the same bananas because we just don't know how to farm. Like, well, not that we don't know how to farm, but like, bro,
We
imagine if we
lost all
had,
the original DNA from the OG bananas.
or not just that, it's just like we lost the ability to like farm well. Like I think about like this fact still is like the craziest thing. It's like the Black Plague was started because there was no soap. Like because
Nobody's washing hands.
yeah, no
And
one.
even if there was soap, they'd call you a witch. They're like, not a witch, but like they're like, "Oh, you're crazy. Like soap.
Yeah. And then
Are you stupid?"
I watched this thing that said like soap originated in
Propaganda.
Ethiopia, like in the African civilizations that were concurrent with the Black Plague. Like they had soap and they were clean, and then like but they were more primitive in structural like you know civilization, and then they just got taken over, and then I guess
I mean,
Europe just
it's
didn't
like
bring
history
soap.
repeating itself, right? Like soap existed during that time. People just didn't want to use it because they didn't believe it. They're like, "Oh, this is propaganda. You're just trying to sell us soap. Look at the government trying to sell us soap," and then just people ended up dying. It's like, oh, maybe they should have used this soap after
Yeah,
all.
it was between soap and then plumbing, right? Because they didn't have plumbing, but then you think like the Greeks had aqueducts and stuff like that, and it's
Yeah.
like, damn, they this was in your backyard, bro. Like you didn't even transition that one up. I don't know the full context of like what wasn't transition or not, but I'm pretty sure like they just didn't have running water. That was like a main problem for like the Black Plague. They didn't shower, soap, and then the catacombs. I think that was also a part of it. They just like stacked up dead bodies, something like that. I forget.
Underneath the streets of London or something.
Yeah, yeah, something
Not
like
London,
that.
but it was some city in Europe.
Yeah, and so we're talking about Europe, right? Going back, this is why I believe the World War II, the aliens existed. Germans definitely had aliens, bro. Do you know what I'm any part of what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh my goodness. I'm almost like
Gonna go down
debating
the rabbit hole of aliens.
I'm almost debating like not even talking about it this episode, showing you a video of it and then us talking about it in full length, and maybe I'll talk a little bit about this and then we'll watch
We
it
should
like
have like
later.
a watch along with like the Discord or something.
Yeah, maybe we
Like
should do
Ancient
that.
Aliens Night.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll talk about it a little bit, right? So like one thing, and this is like a completely factual thing, right? When you
Yeah.
think about the space race that the US and Russia had, right? How did we win? How did we win the space race?
Oh, I have no idea. You tell me. Enlighten.
So the thing was, right, like Russia, I'm pretty sure Russia already, they were first in the sense of they sent they had the first successful orbital thing. I might be wrong, but the reason why I think they were is because they sent a dog. A dog was technically the first living thing out in space, I believe, but I don't think it ended up surviving the trip because they didn't
Yeah.
have a plan. I mean, that's why they didn't send a person. They have a plan other than that. They just want to be first, right? And so the thing is that the reason why the US ended up first is because we had all the Nazi scientists that were given.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I know. I watched an infographic about this.
Yes, so the scientists, the Nazi, all the war criminals, because we won the war primarily.
Yeah.
They split up between the U.S. and Russia, but U.S. got the main ones. So the guy who made missiles, because missiles were not a thing prior to World War II. So like a bunch of innovations happened during World War II. Like when you think about warfare before World War II and after World War II, it's like night and day. It's like the amount of craziness that happened. It all stemmed from Germany because Germany ended up taking over the world because of their technology, and then we had spies that ended up stealing the blueprints, and we had like knockoffs of planes and tanks and things like that, and we had our own iterations. But the Germans generally had better things for mostly everything, and missiles being the space flight, like aeronautical stuff, was the main thing. So we had their scientist, and that guy is the reason why we successfully made it to the moon first. And the thing is, once that guy died and once we lost like the German scientists, we our space program shut down. Like so for the this is the thing, for the last 60 years we have not gone to the moon. Like we have yet to go back. And then also the space shuttle, we don't even apparently, and this is something that I feel like maybe I'm not knowing the full context, but Neil deGrasse Tyson's the one who the clip I'm remembering, we don't know how to make the space shuttle anymore. Like we just don't understand how that worked, and we can't like recreate it. Apparently, like we lost the knowledge of how to do that in 60
What
years.
what I remember the most about the German scientists is the fact that I think we chemically castrated one of them. We like turned this man into a eunuch.
And I wonder why. It was because, hey, we're sending a message to the rest of your buddies. Like, you guys don't work
Oh
for our
no,
science
it's because
programs.
he was gay back in the day.
Oh, what
Yeah,
the
there
hell?
was one German scientist who was gay, and because of that, they like I forgot the term.
We
Like
did it, but they were
we did it. Yeah,
doing
we
that.
we, we chemically castrated the man.
But they were doing
I
that
think
in
there's a better
their.
term for it, but I'm just blanking on it.
And you know what? That's another thing. Like, again, these all of the things that they did was war crimes. But like in terms of the science, the physics, like the war crimes essentially led to the tantamount to like Einstein and the Manhattan Project, right? If the U.S. lost, then though those scientists would be charged with war crimes because they created a nuclear bomb and then decimated entire civilization essentially, right? So but we won, so Einstein and them aren't charged with war crimes, but on the flip side, the Nazi scientists were. And the thing is, the physics ones, like, yes, they created weapons that ended up killing people, but on the other side, in terms of medical knowledge, we also learned so much from them because they just didn't care about like human rights and stuff like that. And then they did exactly what you're talking about. Like they took all the people of minority groups, the LGBTQ of that time and experimented on them, and we learned a lot. And it's just sad, but that knowledge ended up being the basis to a lot of our medicine too. And it's just kind of crazy, but the physics side of it is the most absurd stuff.
We learned a lot.
Yeah, yeah. And so in the ancient alien thing, they talked about like the I forgot what it was. There was like it wasn't like nuclear stuff. It was like the knowledge that they got from space. Apparently there was recordings that the scientists said that they got it from extraterrestrial things. And these are recordings from the scientists. I'm like, the ancient aliens, of course it's a recording type of thing, right? And but then there was like footage. And I was like, wait, hold on. They had footage of this
I like
stuff?
to imagine just like pictures of Bigfoot. It's just like super blurry. There's no real audio. It's like scuffles.
And so then it's like if it was that alone, right? If it was that alone, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. But then the fact that like we can't recreate a lot of the space program that the Nazi scientists people created, I'm like, you know what? Maybe it was extraterrestrials because like yeah, we haven't gone back, we haven't made a space shuttle again, like, and these people did that. And there's like a few other things I'm forgetting off the top of my head. So I'm actually thinking we should actually watch that Ancient Aliens episode.
Just do it on YouTube, just an Ancient Aliens live stream.
Yeah, yeah, we could do a Discord thing. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. Um,
So bouncing off of that,
yeah.
have you ever imagined yourself as God of the world, Par, and how you would construct the world if you were like the Almighty?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Would it be a peaceful one or would it be chaotic?
I feel like I know where this is going, but it wouldn't be chaotic. It'd be peaceful isn't the right word either. Um, I think it would be a competitive place. It would be a competitive world. That's how I see it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Be like Fortnite.
What? Why
No,
would
it sounds
Fort
like competitive like Fortnite.
Why not League of Legends? Why not something I actually play? Why Fortnite? Are you
Well, you
trying to
you know the
connect with
concept
our
of Fortnite.
viewers? I know
Yeah,
the
no, I'm just
concept
I'm
of
just saying
Fortnite,
like
but
League of Legends is competitive, but it's not like people. You're playing like champions, you know?
yeah, but it's competitive. What I thought we were talking about
All right,
competitiveness.
competitive like chess. We'll meet in the middle.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah, like
All right.
chess. Yeah, I see it.
So like different races competing or like what's up? Like different countries.
Yeah, I see it as so it's I think I might have talked about it. Maybe I talked about it with you, but I didn't talk about it on the episode. But like, oh, we talked about it a long time ago. I feel like on one of your Twitch streams. I feel like, um, so this is like a thing, right? Where it's like we're in a time of peace, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, we're at a time of, I call it inefficient peace because we're still in war and we just call it peace, but that war doesn't amount to anything in the sense of because there's no like every side does not there's no succession, right? But the problem is like when you think about war in the past, like in ancient times especially, it's like you slaughtered, you pillaged, you did like all these things. um and the what I think about back then is like that is how we created efficient civilizations. The most efficient civilization ended up winning, and you erase the less efficient civilization. But how it should work is that you adopted the efficiencies of the other civilization, not completely wipe them out. But what ended up happening was over time we ended up having a bunch of religious wars where like our way or the highway essentially, right? So no, every our thing is the word of God, and there was no other, the other side was completely wrong. And so it came to a time where it's like once you defeated a side, you did not adopt any of the other principles that came with their things. But when you think about it, it's like there's no way that other civilization had it completely wrong, right? um and the context I want to bring it back to, because it's like this is a lengthy conversation for something else, but the reason why I hold it to a standard today is because of language. Language is one of those things where um we have we because of world wars, right? We just settled with the least efficient language. English is the least efficient language. Like I would want another language to come over and beat us. And the point being is like, the outcome of war in the past doesn't need to be the outcome of war in the future. That's kind of the way I see it. Whereas right now we don't know how to peacefully get through conflict in a way where it's like we are more efficient. We should abide by these, set of rules or practices, and we adopt the new efficiencies that you bring in, and we come to a better efficient standard, right? But we don't do that. We don't do that at all. And language is one of those things, because communication is how our world functions, period. That's the dawn of humanity, where once we got language, we started advancing so much faster. And when you think about the electronic age, what did we invent? We invented a completely new language that completely runs underneath our entire world. It doesn't matter if you speak Chinese, English, Spanish, whatever it is, C++, Java, all that stuff. That's the language, but that's the language of tech, right? And we're coming to a point where it's like if you don't know that language, you won't survive in the future. And then when AI comes along, all this stuff, it's going to be a huge disconnect. Why? Because humanity can't connect on that level, because we're separated by language. Like there's probably so many viewers who they may understand English, but we don't understand their language, right? Whereas AI and computers, they can understand a universal language. And so when you think about our separation with technology, it's language. And we at this point, because of the state of the world, because we're not competitive in that regard, we think English, we think of ourselves so highly that our language is the best, whichever language it is, that even if we were to defeat the other country, we would never adopt their other language and think like, we should incorporate that part of that language into our language and make our language a different language and a better language. And that's why I think competitiveness is important, or a microcosm of what it
Yeah.
is. Long story,
Damn,
but
I
yeah.
was just thinking of the base level, like what kind of creatures would you have in that bitch? I wasn't thinking that deep. I was just like, man, like would you have humans ruling the world, or would it be like fucking I don't know, like fish people with like shark legs or something?
Listen, there's a dream I have to tell you about. There's a dream that changed my life when I was a little kid, or not a little kid, when I was like 14. And oh man, ever since then, my wife was just like, that dream changed you as a person. I was like, really? And I told her about some of it that day. Sometime later, she's like, oh, that makes so much sense. But uh,
What's
that's
the
why I
life changing
think
dream?
it was kind of, the question that you asked, it stems from some things in that dream. But yeah, I think deeply about everything. But I knew why you were asking, because of your story, right? Was it the story that you made, or no, this is a
Oh
different
no,
thing.
oh no.
It was.
I was just like spitting this off the top of my head. I was like, yo, like I'd probably have humans be like in the middle
Hmm.
of all like the races out there,
Yeah.
and I'd have like a bunch of abominations out there that have their own countries, and then everybody just fights for like to see who's on top.
Yeah, by abominations, I feel like I'm mixing up my memory of what you were talking about. I feel like you were saying like you would create like chimeras and like other human mix things to like create their own lives elsewhere. But I forget if you were saying you were gonna write this story, or if this is how you think the world should be.
Oh, that's how I think the world should be.
Oh my
I
goodness.
I think humans have been at the top of the pecking order for way too long.
So you would create our competition. That's what you think.
Yeah,
And
I
what
create competition for mankind to come together.
I think we do. I'm not, man.
It wasn't me
Usually,
that you talked about this with, because I don't
no,
remember saying anything about chimeras and people.
no, 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 no. There was definitely with you. It was definitely with you, and I'm forgetting the context. There's no way we talked about this in the first episode. We had to have talked
No, we did
about this
not.
separately, and then we sat down and we're like, you know what, maybe we should record this. It had to be after one of our long chapter calls. Like, you know how sometimes afterwards we talk
Yeah.
for like an hour or whatever? That's what it was. It was after one of those things. Um, I don't think we're separated on that. I think the separation though is that you want to create our competition.
I want to
Uh,
create monsters.
you want to
Are
create monsters. But how
I
would
want to create
you?
monsters straight out of hell, and then they'll band all of humanity together, hopefully, in an effort to subdue them.
But don't you think we would just lose?
If that does happen, then that's fine.
Okay.
In this weird scenario, right, where I'm playing God, I'm not down there. I'm not like mingling with the humans. Like, oh look, I'm dead now.
Okay, but like would these other like beings that you created, are they like sentient like humans, or are they just
Oh,
like
they're sentient.
they're sentient, like they speak and
Yeah,
they can make their own
yeah.
technology? So it's
Oh
like
yeah,
Planet of the Apes. Like
yeah.
would
It's like
that be
Planet
a
of the Apes, but without apes.
so the thing is, right? Like we would lose instantly. Like instantly, no matter what. Like anything that we would make, right? Like if we made apes, like think about was it Coco? Coco the
Coco,
orangutan?
yeah.
I think it's orangutan or whatever that can understands language, right? I think it like signed like a speech like towards the I think Coco passed away, but like one of his
Yeah,
last
Coco's dead.
the last speeches was just like it was something about like how humanity is a failure race and like we don't know how to treat the environment and things like that. I'm like, yo, like this it is we didn't do anything to Coco. We just taught it how to sign language and it's already speaking down on us. If we gave apes like an iota of our brains, it's over. It's wraps. Like we would lose instantly. We almost lost to bacteria, like to a virus.
Australia loses to emus constantly.
Yeah, we don't need we the thing is, Sai, you're saying we create beasts. Like the thing is, those beasts already exist. We're not that much better than them.
No, no. I'm just talking about like things out of like cosmic horror movies and shit. You know,
Has there ever been a horror movie about ants?
ants. I'm sure there has.
I feel like I've never seen one, but ants are the craziest ones. You know that, right?
Just in terms of sheer number.
Sheer number, but then also like they have civilizations. Like they create like they have world wars. You know that, right?
Oh, here we go. Here we go. I think the movie you're thinking about is Bugs.
Bugs? Like no, not the animated, like the Disney Pixar. That's
Oh, an
both.
ant life.
And oh my goodness, that doesn't even capture it, bro. Like I was watching Kurz. I always forgot how they pronounce that thing. Kurzgesagt,
Riskavat.
Kurzgesagt, whatever.
Riskagat, something like that.
There's like probably a German viewer who's like, oh my goodness, never speak,
Like, who
never.
are these guys?
Yeah, yeah. Like that channel is one of my favorite ones, and they just have like a an ant fetish for whatever reason. They have like 7 ant videos. But like I'm sitting there, I'm like, yo, humans are not on that level. Where
We're
like
not on par.
like they have like the United States has like 8 factions of ants and they all like one took over, but then the Indonesian ants I think like ended up migrating because of a ship and then they took over the US, but then they lost to the Latin American ants.
Oh, that's kind of cool. What the
Yeah, it's
hell?
crazy.
Yeah, no, I need to watch ant fights, bro. Like the only ant fight I've seen is like where they tore down one of their own people.
What do you mean like
So there was this like prank video on TikTok that I saw. I don't know if it's real or not. It's probably fake, but there was this guy who
uh-huh.
he gets like a slice of cheese or bread or something, and he puts it on the ground next to a singular ant, and he'll wait for the ant to leave and go tell his gang, his family that hey, there's a piece of bread or there's a slice of cheese here. And then before the ant comes back, the
He
guy would
moves.
remove the cheese or bread from the scene. And then, obviously the ant shows up and he's like, wait, I swear it was here. And then, the buddies are like, yo, like, what the fuck? And apparently he recorded him doing this like 7 times until one day, I guess the ants just had enough and they killed the ant that kept on telling him about the food.
Yeah, no, that's how it is.
No, that shit's hilarious, man. He pranked an ant to death.
That's crazy, but that
Yeah,
is
he got
that
he got this dude fucking Salem witch trialed. That's
that
so cool.
that's exactly how it works because they can track ants by their like pheromones or whatever, and then the
This
inefficient
the
ones
homie's
get
lying
slaughtered.
day to day.
Yo, that's
Imagine
crazy.
every day you like he's like Nolan the liar. Like every day he's like, yo, like I
Yo.
swear there's cheese here, there's cheese. And then the king or the queen ant's like, all right, I'll send my 10 best ants with you so they can bring back the cheese. And then they get there and the cheese is gone. And it's like, dude, what the hell? And then the second day he's like, no, I swear to God, it's here this time.
No,
I
the
tasted it.
things, and then they'd slaughter all the ants that are related to him, like all of his like
Yeah, they just pull him apart. I think in the video they like tore his head off.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
100%
those
easy.
ants were brutal. They were messing him up.
And that's what's cool. So that's what's cool about the wars between ants, because it's not like humans, right? Humans is it's honestly boring to a certain extent, obviously joking, but like, it's just like boxing, fighting, and then
Ants
we
are more
got
primal.
knives. That it's not even that. It's like, because like we don't have giants. We don't have giants. Like, imagine we won against a nation of giants, and it was like it took 20 humans to take down one giant, right? Because that is what ant wars are like. It's like this giant ant race, right? You think that their genetic line would be the most powerful. Like, I'm just making stuff up right now, but like, the giant ant race took over the United States, right? And it dominated everyone because of the way the structure worked, and it didn't allow for the other ants to breathe. But then in comes all these fast, like, fire ants from Latin America, and they just
Rapid
outrun.
fire ants.
Yeah, they outrun the giant ants and get them tired, and they pull them away from their colony to then re-come back. Like this, I'm not even joking. This is how tactical they are. So then they'll pull them so far away from the colony, then the ants will then swarm them in numbers as they're spread out, and then they'll come back and then swarm the colony once they whittle them down, right? And they'll continue that process until it's successful. And then there's other ants. So it's like, okay, the little ants are super fast. Like, how do we beat them, right? And then they'll make ants that like that are spy ants essentially. They'll go inside of the colony and then destroy it from within. And so
That's
it
so
takes
cool.
advantage.
Espionage,
It
bro.
Yeah, yeah, and so they take advantage of the speed of the ants colony, right? Because they procreate so fast. So if you're able to infiltrate and take over them from the inside, then you'll essentially like create a viral load, or infect their colony super super fast, and then that's the way that colony crumbles, and then the other ones just take over from within. And then what's cool is that even when that happens, the super fast ant colony, and this is like you guys can watch these videos, maybe like we need to figure out how to link these things, but like these other ant colonies, right, they'll diversify and then they'll create allegiances, and it's like, oh, I was like, whoa, ants are so much cooler.
They're just
uh,
over here causing coups, having guerrilla warfare, sending in spies.
yeah, it's so
Dude,
so
ants are living
cool.
a different life. Do you think
Yeah.
shrimp have the same lifestyle?
Shrimp? Nah, bro, shrimp are lame, dude. They just get
What
eaten
about the
by
mantis
whales.
shrimp?
Okay, fair. And mantis shrimps are
Do you
crazy.
think the mantis shrimp would live at the top of the shrimp food chain?
I've said this, so like, I mean, this is not One Piece related, but
I
like,
like how you say like I've said this as if like it's your motto. Like I've been religious with this one, but
no,
let me
no,
tell you.
mantis shrimps are my favorite. I love. I'm on the side. There's this guy who has a mantis shrimp on TikTok, and
Yeah.
he just drops a crab, and then this mantis shrimp shoots out and just beats the shit out of it. I'm like,
Dude, the
whoa.
mantis shrimp swings with the power of a .22 caliber bullet.
Yo, and like, so
I
there,
think it's like 23 meters per second is how fast the punch is.
so there's two kinds of mantis shrimps. There's the ones with clubs and one with spikes, and the club one is
I
what
don't
you're
want to get
talking.
hit with either
The
one.
spike one is apparently because it's like a precision point. The amount of pressure and power on that point is as it heats up the target as hot as the sun, apparently. And I'm like, what the hell?
Just
This,
friction alone.
yeah, it's just,
Damn.
it's like One Punch Man in a needle. Like, it's like the craziest, coolest thing. Like, in a shrimp. I hate shrimps, but when you said mantis shrimp, I was like, nah, he hit my kryptonite.
Yeah.
Mantis shrimp are
So if you
dope.
guys don't know what a mantis shrimp is, it's like Mike. It's Mike Tyson as a shrimp. Like it's these small shrimp, but they have like massive like biceps, and they just like and they destroy crabs, they destroy crustaceans,
It's
they break shells, they can break rock. Like
It's
They're
like
kind of crazy.
Mike Tyson, Kimbo Slice, but then like Dwayne, like in a Samoan body, because like mantis shrimps are as big as
Oh yeah,
lobsters.
the Samoans. We needed to bring that in once.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
like they're
bring
the
back the
Samoans of
Samoans.
shrimps, because like shrimps are like this big, even jumbo shrimp are like this big. The mantis shrimp is like this big, and then they're like, they just come up to you, and then you're just like, oh, it's over. It's over. It's
Oh wait,
donezo.
here's a good one. Here,
And
okay. Well,
oh, and on top of that,
what's up?
they're rainbow colored. Like they're just the most flamboyant
They got
things.
like I think they have like blue eyes and green shells, and like there's like hints of red in there.
Yeah,
Like
it's
yeah,
iridescent.
they're
Like
pretty rainbow.
they're
Oh, is it
iridescent.
iridescent?
Yeah, yeah, which is
Oh,
like it's so interesting considering survival, especially in the ocean. Most things take like a especially like on the ground, you try to blend in with the ground, or you have camouflage, or you have like a blue grayish thing to reflect the ocean. Nah, these things are like, nah, bro, I'm trying to let you see me. Like,
yeah. I want you to see me so I can mess you up.
yeah, it's
Or they're like
crazy.
red or something to like indicate that they're toxic. Like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah, yeah.
know.
There's that
These guys
too.
don't care.
But usually I think in the ocean, when things are like toxic, they usually have like a speckled pattern, I believe, which they
Yeah.
don't. So like the blue ring, and then like a lot of the jellyfishes, they have like certain things. I'm not exactly sure about toxic ocean life, but
If okay, let's say we put a mantis shrimp in an arena
mm-hmm.
along let's say Pokemon rules. So like, water, out of water doesn't matter. They're just both existing outside of water.
Okay.
They're fine.
All right.
Let's say a mantis shrimp and then its opponent is a praying mantis that is the same size as the mantis shrimp. Who do you think would win?
Oh, the mantis shrimp for sure, but like the
Mantis shrimp would beat the praying mantis.
praying mantis is crazy because they're fast, and like they go for like the assassin kill,
They go
right?
for like the Black Widow assassination tactics, and apparently, like I don't know if it's cap or not, let me look it up. I think praying mantises are like one of the strongest killers of its for its size.
No, I believe you. The only reason why I say that is because I feel like the mantis shrimp's exoskeleton is like really durable. Like comparatively, like even if you were to size up the praying mantis, right? Like it's
Yeah,
not breaking shell, right?
the praying mantises are capable of killing prey 3 times its size. But yeah, I guess it doesn't really say can like actually break the shell of a mantis shrimp. But maybe since it's so fast, it can just like pinpoint a certain part of the shell, just break it
It's like
apart.
acupuncture. It's
Yeah, yeah. Who knows, man?
yeah, but the thing is, in that time, the mantis shrimp just pow, one punch man, just insta
It's
kills.
true. 23 meters per second. I don't know if the praying mantis can withstand that.
Like I've always said, like when if I were to write like a fiction thing, and it includes like animals, right, like or animalistic powers, I love when. Oh, you know this. You actually know this because we played the D&D, like the One Piece D&D thing. Like I love when authors include really niche facts about like animals in the power system. And so like this ridiculous animal ends up becoming really broken because of something crazy like that. And like so like obviously normally like lions and wolves and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But then like the uppest, like the most strongest person in that verse is a mantis shrimp. Like that's their power, and nobody really knows. They just see like a flamboyant thing.
Wait,
That's
have you ever watched the anime or read it? It's called Terraform Mars.
no.
Oh, you would love that.
Hmm.
It's all about random animal facts as an anime.
That's
So
I feel like someone else, maybe you already recommended
to
this to
give
me for a
you
different
a
reason.
brief overview of what Terraform Mars is,
Mm-hmm.
it's finished as a manga. The anime has 2 seasons, I think.
Uh-huh.
But essentially, it's about a bunch of countries sending one representative to Mars to colonize it all together, right? You have every
It's
country coming together and like, oh, we pick Adolf from Germany, we pick which is actually a character, and then we have Akira from Japan. But the thing is that the reason why they're all working together is because on one of the trips they went to Mars earlier on, they accidentally had cockroaches on the ship and they got off on Mars. And because of I don't like, anime logic, the cockroaches got really big and strong and super buff on Mars, and they
Uh,
colonized it. So they're trying to take it over. So, we send these genetically modified humans from one from each country to
yeah.
Mars, and each human has a genetic that is close to something in the wild. Like there's actually a character with a mantis shrimp ability where his hands turn into giant claws and he just punches really hard and it's like a one-hit KO. There's a guy who's based off of like a really minute electric eel, and it has the deadliest like electricity and poison out there in the world,
Wait,
and they're all
that's
real animals.
dope.
Yeah, no, it's
That's
actually kind of cool.
wait. Are you
And
finished at all?
I didn't finish it. No, no, no. The
Dang it.
manga just finished, so I might catch up for it.
Wait, that's
Where-
exciting. Wait, and it's you know what's crazy about that?
Yeah.
This reference that you just said encapsulated our entire conversation pretty much. Like every going to Mars, then the animals things, but then it also apparently has Hitler, but then also I'm imagining that the point of them sending a representative to Mars was also a way to instill competition and create a system where the country that wins or whichever representative wins reflects the rest of, like that's who gets the colonizer, right?
Ye-
So
It's
that's another
kind of
part of the
like that.
conversation. That's
It's
crazy.
so like to give you an example, they
This
have
is
like
not
rankings,
scripted.
which
This is not scripted, by the way,
it
guys.
has rankings, and the number 3 rank is a guy named Shokichi Komachi, and his insect is the Asian giant hornet,
Yo,
and
the
he's ranked number
giant,
3.
bro, the giant hornet is crazy. Real question: are you afraid
Yeah,
of
what's up?
like bees flying? Those things? Are
Oh
you
yeah, I hate him.
Bro, what would you do if you saw one of those Asian giant hornets? I think I would pass away. Like,
I would run, bro.
I
I'd run
would.
so
Yeah,
fast.
but they would beat you. Like those things are vicious. I feel like there's only one solution sometimes. Like
I jump in a river and I just would not resurface.
I feel like I always have the first instinct. I did this when I was in college one time. There was in those like house centipedes, like the ones that are like crazy, like they're not a normal centipede. They're the ones with like the crazy long legs and they like super fast, right?
Yeah.
So my dorm had that, like my dorm room, and it was right before a final. And when I saw it, I insta killed it. I insta killed it, right? I instantly
You saw
stepped
danger and you're like, I gotta end his life
instantly.
right now.
But then I lifted my shoe and it sprinted away. And I was like, no way. I had Tim's on and I stomped that shit. And I even did the squishy squish. You know what I mean? When you like twist your foot back and
Yeah,
forth.
yeah.
I even did that
Gotta make
shit.
sure you got him.
I even did that. I lifted my foot, it sprinted, and it was in my room. And I was like, and I had to study that whole night with a giant, like the fear of a giant's house centipede in my house or in my dorm. And I'm like, God damn. And like that, like that's how I see it with those, like with the hornet, right? Like it's like I got one shot, one opportunity. If that does not happen, I'm passing away. Like I'm just, and then if I wake up, cool. If I wake up, cool. But I'm
If
not
I
like,
never wake up, fine too.
yeah, because I know I'll be able to land one hit on it. I know, but like if God does not let me kill that thing in one hit, it's wraps. That thing is gonna murder my ass.
I'm looking at some of the really abstract animals they have from Terraform Mars.
Yeah.
One of them is a Metasapia peferi, which
What in the
looks to
heck?
be like a cephalophoto octopus thing. And then there's another one which is a blue ringed octopus, so that's kind of like repetitive, kind of
Yeah.
sucks. But yeah, I don't
Everybody
know,
knows
like
that.
yeah, you should definitely check it out.
I'm
And then we have
excited.
another one which is based off of a Death Stalker.
What's a Death Stalker?
It's a Palestine yellow scorpion.
A scorpion. Okay, all right, fair. Oh, these are the ones that glow in the dark. I'm pretty sure, right? Or they're like
Yeah,
UV.
something like
I
that.
think. Oh, apparently all scorpions glow in UV light.
I could see that. I mean, I feel like whenever I've seen I don't know why, but I feel like I've actually seen scorpions grow in UV light.
Not grow, glow, but
Or
yeah,
glow, yeah,
yeah,
glow.
glow. Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
L's and R's, man. The Asian people, they
No.
genetics hitting hard right there. I'll bring
The
back the southern
language.
accent pretty soon. Don't
The
worry.
language. That's why we gotta eliminate all the languages for a better one. But yeah, no, I saw like I think it was like Arizona or something like
Or get a
some.
language chip.
Yeah,
Like in
something like
sci-fi
that.
movies, like, oh,
Something
here
like
you go,
that.
installing every language so it's automatically translated to something else.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. I think that's like, as much as people shit on like Neuralink, right? Like the main
Yeah.
reason why you should shit on it is because Elon, and he's just like he's derping around. But like the some of the things that they debuted with that, with the monkey recently, or the dog, or no, it was a pig. I think it was a pig. It's kind of scary. It's kind of scary where we're
We
going with
are
it.
getting closer and closer to real-time translations, aren't we? Like, I'm pretty sure they actually exist.
Yeah, we have good real time translations, but not the neural like kind of level of it. I don't think it's
Yeah, like
there.
where you just think of something, it's like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, but we do have. I think I mentioned the episode we talked about Mr. Beast with the curing blindness thing. There's a real version of that where they insert a chip into your optic nerve, and so there's some people who can't see from a neural from a not because their eye structure is bad or anything like that. It's because the wiring in their brain. And so essentially the company, they figured out how the coding works and that your brain uses to see, and they insert a chip in there and it bypasses your optic nerve block or whatever, and then those people who have never been able to see because of a neural reason, um they are now able to see, not obviously not the way me and you can, but they can essentially, if they can see lights and shadows and the the edges of objects, so then they're able to like
Yeah.
go outside and walk
It's like
around.
it's like a bat using echolocation.
Yeah, it's a
Like that,
little
they're
bit
like, oh
like
yes,
that,
there's an edge right here.
but they
Gotcha.
get depth, they get all
That's
that
cool.
jazz. Yeah, and it's just, it's from a chip that they figured out how the coding works, and we're so close to that, because then imagine how they can use that for hearing, they can use that for smell, they can use that for taste
I
and everything
I
else.
want a fucking HUD on my in my eye.
I mean, we
It's like a
have,
HUD.
like, but all right, but we
Are
don't
you gonna
need
say
that.
Google Glasses or something?
Yeah, I wish Google Glasses
I
stuck.
wish they were good. Dude, if
Yeah.
they were like if Google Glasses were like a thing where I put them on, it's like, oh, here's this person's name, their HP bar, stamina, like, oh god, like this is goated, man. I'd buy one of those.
I entered in
But
to
it's
get a
not.
Google Glass when I was a kid. I actually still have the video of my entry. It's so cringe, but the thing is, Google Glass didn't shut down because it was bad. It was shut down because of privacy concerns at the time,
Oh, I
right?
should have bought one.
It was stopped because people were like walking into bathrooms with it, and we didn't know. It was like 2012,
It was
2013.
a long time ago.
Yeah, when that, and it was like, it's too early. Like if it comes out now, no one would bat an eyelash, because it's like we have AR, VR, like
AIs.
AI, right? But like it came at a time when like iPhone 3 was coming out, and it's like like we could barely use a calculator on our phones, and then they're like,
Man,
"You know what? We
we need to
could
bring back the Google Glasses.
I
I
want
wanted
Google
them so
Glass."
bad.
Yeah, wait, no, I do
I
too.
didn't like how thick they were, but I mean, I'm sure we could fix that with today's technology though.
The thing is, like, Google Glass was cool because it wasn't like a glass. It was just like a thing that floated up here, and it was
Yeah.
like a thick thing, and so it didn't impede your entire visual like perspective, but it gave you enough. And I really like that idea. The design was cool. It's not lame. It wasn't lame, like, like snap glasses, like you saw
Like it
those.
okay, Google Glasses are a little bit lame, but if everybody's wearing them, they're not lame anymore.
Mm,
That's essentially what it boils down to. Like
yeah.
if 99% of people on your block are wearing Google Glasses and you're not, you're the lame one, right?
Yeah, you hear
That's just how it
Apple's
is.
releasing apparently a really good AR VR. No, I think it's prime. I don't know if they included VR into it, but AR set this year. They're set to announce it at the end of the
Oh
year, I believe.
no.
Yeah, it's apparently going to be really good. And I'm like, that's scary, because if Apple comes out with like consumer level AR glasses
Have
where
you
you could just like look at a wall and then have like everything that we have on our computer and edit off of a wall, I'm
Yeah. That's so
I'm
good. Have
getting
you
it. Yeah.
seen Psychopaths?
Yeah, yeah, I love
Dude,
psychopaths.
you know how like the main inspector, we see Akane's room and she can like choose like what theme she wants and it just ARs over it.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
so
yeah.
cool. Like imagine waking up one day and like I want my room to be an undersea aquarium and then you just tap it and then all of a sudden your boring wall, your chair like transforms into like a conch shell and just sit on it. And then when you leave, it's no, it's the same boring room, but it looked cooler at the time.
Yeah, that's
That'd be so dope.
that concept's a lot better than what AR is doing right now, where it's like through AR, a lot of people are putting skins on their furniture to make things look better. So you could have like a shitty couch, but then they put the skin off of something from like Raymore and Flanagan's or something, and then they're like, it's like a false reality, right? Versus what you're talking about in the anime, it's like there's it doesn't it's like everything actually does change kind of through
Yeah.
that thing. So
I
it's
don't know if I'd like want somebody else to have AR if I'm going to their house to visit as a guest. Like if I went to your house and you had AR on all your furniture, I wouldn't want that, bro.
well that is like near future. That's actually where NFTs is
Like
lucrative.
I
NFTs is
wouldn't
supposed to do
mind
that.
it, but I wouldn't trust other people. Like maybe you're an outlier in this
Mm.
scenario, but I'm just like, dude, what if I go to some dude's house and like, I'm sitting on the couch, it's all AR, it's really nice and stuff, and then I leave, and then it turns out I was sitting on like a pile of dead bodies or a couch made out of flesh, and it's like, I don't know about that.
Well, at least you could take off the glasses and then you know.
Yeah, it's true, it's true. I'm just like, I don't know how trustworthy that'd be, because I think one of the killers in there, like, they had a fountain that was AR'd over, and
uh
then after they took off the AR, it was just like a dead body. It's
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah, and the thing,
I'm like, I don't know about that.
which in terms of our conversation, Psychopaths, I think me and you we talked about that at length before. That's like a favorite series for both of us, and
Yeah,
it
it's
connects to
pretty solid.
a lot of things that we did talk about, but more of an end stage thing. It's just a very interesting outlook of humanity because it goes through a very similar thing we're talking about, uh, where Japan ends up creating the most efficient policing force in the entire world, and so the other countries kind of uh they don't talk about it in the main series, but they license Japan's thing because of that, and but then they have their own iterations of it too, and it creates such an interesting political system there too because you get foreign politicians talking about Japan, and then Japan going out there and talking about other places, all from the stem of efficient policing, and it's so like how to determine who and what is a criminal. It's very very
I think the
fun.
crime coefficient thing that Psychopass passes off is kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah, I do think it's kind of
It's very
cool.
dystopian, which if you guys haven't watched the series, essentially every security camera on the street can monitor your psychology or psychological state, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, like Parr is thinking about mass murder today. So he's looking a little bit dark green. Maybe we should send him to a therapist. Maybe the police should come over and talk to him a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it's such a cool concept, and like it essentially arrests people before they commit a crime.
But the thing is that sound like in our world, right? Like that's not allowable, but the reason why it works there is because they have the data to back that they are making the right decisions. And
And I think 99% of the time they are making the right decision.
yeah, there's some kind of foundation for that, and it's understanding what that data comes from, what like is fate and future, and can people break their psychology, and so much more than that, because like if from our standpoint, yeah, we can't implement something like that. Everything is corrupt, no one's a good litmus test for good or bad. But even in that system where it's like they have a 99%, it's like what is the system, what's making the system, why can't you trust the system, and then like aren't humans supposed to be breaking the system? But then that's where it's interesting right now because like essentially it's this isn't spoiling it, but it's like in the first episode you get an understanding it's AI based, like it's AI versus man. It's a very cool concept, um and right now we're on the precipice of like
I'm on Team AI.
craziest AI stuff right now.
I am on Team AI.
I mean, we're both on Team AI because if
Be not
AI,
afraid of the future, losers.
the AI is not it's gonna take a bit, but within 5 years we're gonna have a scary world, bro. It's gonna be
I guess
scary.
I mean the AI thing. It depends on what field you're talking about, but I don't know. I just One of the dramas I've kept up with recently is like the animated rock paper scissors anime. Have you seen that?
The animated rock, like not Hunter x Hunter.
No, no, no. So if you go on YouTube and type in rock paper scissors,
Uh-huh.
there's a crew called Corridor Crew, and they actually made a anime, like 6 minute long anime based like using AI. They essentially mocap themselves. They did the voice acting, and then the AI rotoscoped all of it into an animation. And it looks really good, right? You know, obviously some kerfuffle here and there because it's their first time doing it, but all in all, it's really solid.
Hmm.
And people are giving it shit because they're like, "Oh, it's made by AI, AI bad." It's like a caveman being afraid of fire, and it's like it's so stupid.
Yeah, yeah, I think, it's like the wild wild west. Like every time you cross a new horizon, there's going to be lawlessness. And I think what's scary about it is, when it comes to lawlessness, you think about the accepted risk that you accept by going into that horizon, right? Like, so the wild wild west being like, if you could stay in on the east coast, right, you in the civilization, but if you went to the west where it's wild, then you have to accept the risks that come along with it, which is whether it's nature, whether it's the lack of policing, whether whatever it might be, the environment, because people couldn't possibly survive, or the farming, food, lack of food, whatever. It's kind of, you're left to your own devices. And I'm using that, like, I'm not talking about the actual wild wild west, but that's like every time we explored something that humanity has not uh domesticated, right? There's always that thing. And the problem with AI is that the lawlessness is something that everybody, no matter where you are in the world, you are opted into it without your consent, right? Whereas when it came to, like, right now, it's like going to Mars, right? It's not like everybody has to go. It's like the people who want to ex- experience the first few years of it, they opt in, they go there, they go to space, they do all that stuff, blah blah. But then with AI, this new horizon that's coming on for humanity, uh every ramification, negative ramification, everyone can be a victim of it. And I think that's the scary part is, and the other part of it is that humanity has disappointed me to no end. And so when it comes to that time period of lawlessness, usually it shortens based off of human competency. So when you think about the wild wild west, it's like as if humanity, the civilization, was able to expand fast enough and efficient enough, then that time period of craziness gets shortened. Same thing with Mars, right? We go to Mars, if we have our shit put together, it won't be that bad because we have our ducks lined up. Whereas, and like, think about the pandemic though. Like, we should have been prepared, we were not, and it was like a docile version of what could have happened, and we failed. And the thing is, virus is essentially a bio AI, right? And we failed against that. And this isn't like a something that we've been able to study for 100 years ish. We've had vaccines for about that long, right? Whereas AI is brand new. Artificial intelligence has been studied for maybe like 10, 15 years. And we're still learning about it. And so it's coming faster than we can learn about and understand it. And then, so the amount of time that's lawlessness and scary, it's gonna be like 5 to 20 years probably of like not trusting anything in the world, essentially. That's how I see it.
I mean, as far as like the AI art goes, it's not about like trusting it or not. It's more so people like not liking the idea of AI taking over the art field and like animation in general.
Yeah, there's that, but then there's also like the Joe Biden stuff, right? Like right now, that's the biggest AI output at the moment. Everyone's
Yeah.
making, like, I think someone made a One Piece Joe Biden versus Trump. Like, it's Joe Biden versus Trump, like all the memes. And
Yeah.
I just saw one where it was a One Piece debate. It was Shanks versus Mihawk.
Yeah, I retweeted that one.
Okay, and I heard that one, and then like any kind of debate, it's those two, and it's gone to a point where it's like I can't tell the difference between Trump real Trump and fake. Honestly, the AI Biden, the reason why you know that it's a fake is because it's so coherent. I'm like,
Yeah, Joe
yo,
Biden wouldn't be that coherent.
yo. It says, you know what? That's how humanity
You got to
beats.
throw like a couple ums in there and like a 2 minute pause, and then like
Yes.
you got Joe Biden. But I mean, slowly but surely though, AI is always getting better.
Yeah.
Like
So it's
it's
gonna
just getting
start.
better on a day-to-day basis.
It's gonna start. I was just about to say, like, the way you beat AI is that AI tries to be efficient, right? That's the programming that AI should have, because it'd be counterintuitive otherwise. But the thing is, humanity is so inefficient. And the thing is, that might be our strength. That might be what breaks AI, is like, you can tell the difference between Biden and AI Biden because of Biden's weakness. And that's kind of deep when you think about it. You could
But
write a
once
whole
once
movie.
I mean, the AI will be able to replicate it eventually though.
But the thing is, by replicating our weakness of inefficiency and failure, you're now introducing that into their programming. And so now you're introducing inefficiency and failure into a program that shouldn't have that. And so then you're weakening the thing that's supposed to take over, right? So
I don't know.
we're kind of an endless poison. That's kind of how I'm looking at it.
I feel like it's very different because Joe Biden will always have that weakness
Yeah.
because that's just who he is.
Uh-huh.
Whereas an AI chose to have that weakness to only replicate Joe Biden. Like it's not like it, like if it wanted to be like a really efficient Joe Biden, it could. It would just know that it's gonna be like less like the real Joe Biden.
Yeah, I guess
Like you
the
know, like it's like somebody wounding themselves, but they could unwound them at any minute now
that's fair.
to not be on equal playing field.
I think like the it's kind of like a what I'm getting at is kind of like something that's very difficult to write into a story, but the idea being that human flaw and human weakness is our strength, but like we kind of try to mask all of that. Like prior to AI, right, we had plastic surgery, we had so many kind of different problems, right? And AI is supposed to be like a perfect system, and one way or the other, genetic diversity, right, if you think about that, that's supposed to be a good thing, right? Like the flaws of genetic diversity could create positive things. Here's an actual example that I saw recently, that's kind of like a very it's like a touchy subject, but I wonder, like, have you watched the movie? I forgot what it's called. It's called like Galactica or something, like Gardica or something, or
I don't
Gattaca.
think so.
Gattaca, I think it was. Where essentially it's like designer babies, like you could genetically modify babies, and it was like the set of twins, I believe. One was genetically modified and the other wasn't, or something like that. And the genetically modified was just so much better. And there was like a weird world where they had like tracking of people and stuff like that. It was very interesting. But cycling back to what I was wanting to talk about, I saw this TikTok recently of this lady who had a kid. She had this genetic disease. I say disease, with quotations, because that's the conversation here. Her genetic mutation makes it so that she has thicker hand skin, feet and hand skin, like super thick feet and hand skin. And she had a child, not knowing that she had this disease, or not knowing that it was a genetic disease that she had passed on, because she was the first in her entire family lineage, and she knew, like, even her great great grandparents, essentially, like she was literally the first in her entire bloodline to have it. So she didn't even expect that her kid would get it, but her kid did get it. And so the way, especially as a baby, the way you kind of have to cope with it is, there's like a special scraper that you scrape off the thick skin, so that you're able to, like, the baby's able to use their hands or whatever. And as babies, like especially newborns, like everything's uncomfortable, right? So you have to scrape it off, and she does it for herself also. And the comment section was flooded with, like, there was lots of types, but two really ones that stood out to me. One, it was this like I can't believe you would have a child knowing that you had this disease. That was one set of the comments, and the other side was a flip side of it was it's like, me personally, if I had this disease and I had like I went through this thing, I would never have let my child go through something like that. So I would never have kids. And I was sitting there like, damn, that's crazy because I'm looking at that kid and I'm like, that's a superpower because she explained it. She said that she could grab like a porcupine, she could grab a stove, like a hot stove,
That's kind of
no
dope.
pain, no pain, like walk on ice, anything that would cause us pain because of our normal hands, she does not feel that pain. And so like if she when she grew up, she thought of it as a superpower as a child, because of that. And her parents, like, they had to learn how to deal with it with her because she was the first, but she just went like climbing trees, no problem. The bark did nothing to her hands. And I was like, that's so interesting because like most of society would see that as a genetic malformation, a genetic mistake, a disease, right? And I'm looking at like, how do you know that that's a bad thing? Like, what if humanity evolved and that was
We
the
need more people with that ability.
yeah, and like who knows, like the way the world is going, right? We talked about like global warming and climate change, and like we might go through an ice age. The world might get so much hotter, and then like these Saudi princes are making the line. It's like, but what if most people can't? Like, aren't genetic changes like that a good thing? Like, other than the hand thing, it does nothing else to their body. They can eat, sleep, run,
Have you
everything perfectly fine.
have you watched the Predator movies?
No, I haven't. Oh,
The most
when I was a kid, so I don't remember them
the
super
second
well.
to last most recent one. It was about how the
Hold on.
Predator was coming to Earth.
Define
So,
most recent and define the number because like I remember like it's like
oh,
the
I
Fast
have
and
no clue
is
what
it like
number
the
this
Fast
is.
and
This is
Furious
like
though? Like
2018 Predator. Every Predator movie is just
no.
called Predator.
Oh, so there's not numbers. It's not like Fast and Furious
No,
15.
there's not like Predator 1, 2, 3, 4. It's literally every time it's released, it's just called Predator.
Oh, okay,
You
okay,
have
okay.
no like you have no idea how to like correlate to like what movie I'm talking about
Got it.
unless you like refer
Get
to
the
the
year.
year it was released in.
2018. All right, so more
So I'm
modern.
assuming it's 2018.
Got it.
But
Got it.
in this movie, the Predator comes to Earth to grab the most capable human like specimen
Hmm.
that they can breed in with their species. Because the way the Predator was made was that they conquered another race, they captured their most valuable warrior, they had sex with them, and then boom, they have a baby that has all of their good traits,
Right.
and they just keep on doing that over and over. I think if the Predator were to come to Earth, they would grab that person with those hands.
Yeah, they would grab the person with those hands, and then also, do you know about like this like a group of people? I don't know where in the world they are. I believe it's a Pacific Island, nation group people where they adapted to be like subaquatic, like they have like special,
No.
yeah, so they don't have to blink in water, like they have a special like eyelid. Their, I think it's their spleen, their spleen is either 1.5 times bigger than our spleens. I believe it's that. I think their spleens are bigger than rest of humanity, and what that allows them to do, I think it allows them to oxygenate their blood way more efficiently so they can hold their breath underwater for like 15 minutes at a time, and that is because they hunt and they get their most of their food underwater. So over the generations, they adapted to like this band of people that can just don't have to blink underwater and can just stay underwater, and they're just in water most of the time. Like the only time they're out of water is literally to sleep. That's it.
That's
And
kind of cool.
yeah, and it's like is that a genetic disease, like, or like is that an advancement, like, you know what I mean? Like I
No, we need that plus the girl with hands. Like they need to come together, have some kids, and then just spread the seed amongst the world. Like we need that.
and that's what I'm talking about because in your world and my world, we're making people like that. We're
Yeah, I
encouraging.
want people to be strong.
Yeah, and then but then in our world, it's like everyone wants to be like this, like it's like if you're not of the average or the norm, you're getting plastic surgery to get to that, and it's like the craziest thing.
When
um
in reality, you just need to be like taken out by the superior race, like I don't know, like three-headed dog people.
and then understand that plastic, getting that lip filler didn't do shit for you, right? Like, and
Instead, you should have you should have learned the blade.
it's so like it's so, oh my god, there's so many cool genetic mutations. Maybe we should have an episode about that, because I
Episode
also,
4, genetic mutations.
I also think about this like with mental health too, because ADHD, right? Everyone and their mother says they have ADHD. That's like a stigma type of thing, where it's like at this point, like a lot of people who don't have it say they do, they might have it, but the thing is everything's a spectrum, right? ADHD and a lot of mental health stuff. But what I think about, and this is how I see it, and there's like this whole movement right now of like ADHD, depression, they're not real things. They're labels that the government put on you so you're going to take pills and whatever, right? That's an interesting way to look at it, because the way I look at it is like, don't ignore the science of things, because there's like dyslexia, ADHD, even depression. We have like brain mapping of how it affects your brain and how it changes your brain and how your neural connections relate to other people with the same ailments, right? Which lends itself to, no, it's not something that's made up. It's a very real thing. But the way I see it, dyslexia and ADHD specifically, is um why do we call like those things disorders or disabilities, right? Because if the entire, like if everyone had ADHD, then the people who didn't would be the ones having a disability, right? The ones with the disorder. So it's like a perspective thing. I see ADHD as like the way computers are advancing. With computers, right? Like we start out with the calculator, single
Yeah.
core, single thread, it can only do one operation, right? But as computers progressed, they have multi-core, multi-threaded, they can multitask, right? Computers became more efficient in that way. And I think our world is making it so that we are also like that too. And I feel like the only thing that's like holding us back is like this idea that it's like a disorder kind of thing.
It's funny you say that because in the Predator movie,
Oh my goodness.
it all wraps back. I like the goofy shit, but let me tell you, in the Predator movie, not a dig, but if I recall correctly,
Mm-hmm.
the Predator, the person it chooses to like take back with it to its like alien planet to have kids with, is somebody with autism.
Wait, that's such a woke thing to do for 2018. Of course, that's
They're
what they
like, yo,
do.
like this kid has autism. Like we need to bring him back. Like this is what we've been missing out on. But I thought about it and I was like, man, if they brought back that kid, like I don't know, like maybe he did have some crazy superpowers like cooking in the oven, but if they brought him back, like I think the predators would have been done. Like that's just the end of the species.
So that's where I look
Like
at
like
it.
no offense, but like the kid in the movie that they're trying to kidnap wasn't the brightest out there.
Uh-huh.
So I just can't imagine how like this kid would benefit the predators. Like at least get like a combat warrior or something. Or maybe if they're like if they have autism, maybe get one of the ones that are like super gifted in like a different field. But I was like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, like they didn't, man.
It's funny you say that, because One Piece's main character, what do you say? What do you, if you were to put a diagnosis on him? I think a lot of people would agree on a certain aspect about him. He's definitely on the spectrum.
One Piece, I say he's like ADHD.
You think Luffy isn't? He's on the spectrum, bro. Like,
Luffy, nah.
what do you mean,
I
bro?
don't think
Is
Luffy's on the spectrum on One Piece.
he definitely is an interesting he, the way people regard him is the same way a lot of influential people with autism are regarded in our world. And there's one person that you very much dislike that has a very similar
Greta
uh
Thunberg.
I mean, not just her, there's other people, but yeah, the law of attraction. But the thing is, like, again, it's the power in the diversity of it. It's something that I always go back to when it comes to like disability disorders, is there's a lot of people, right? I mean, going back to World War II, right? They want to eliminate all the people with that because it is seen as a fatal flaw. But we learn so much about the human brain through so many different avenues, right? If we make everything more tolerable, you who are we to know what is the best outcome for humanity if we're choosing the foundation of it? And the reason why I say that is because if you were to eliminate blind people, for example, uh, not blind people, deaf people, we probably would not have come to create sign language. Sign language is probably, in my opinion, one of the most important lingual advancements that humanity has made. Uh, for the main reason because recently we discovered that, and this is the stupidest thing that we recently discovered. Not stupidest thing, but people like people are like, oh, babies cry, right? Babies cry all the time. The thing is, like, babies, that's their only way to communicate. Like, that's why they cry. They can't voice out words. If they could, they would, but they come out not knowing anything. So if they want something, they're going to cry. But the thing is, it's not just one cry. They're programmed with like 6 different cries, and each baby uses each cry a little bit different. But if you take the time to listen, uh you can very, or depending on who you are, I'm very quick with it. So like when I was in the NICU, the doctors and nurses, they can't spend that much time with each baby. In the first 2 days, I was able to program. I was like, oh, this is what this cry is, that's what this cry is. And they're like, wow, you learned really quick. And I was like, it's not that hard if you just kind of like listen. Maybe it's like mostly instinct for me. But the thing is, you can teach babies sign language from like a newborn age, like very, very soon, as early as like 2 or 3 months. And the thing is, once you teach them sign language, that expedites them learning regular language, regardless of what language it is. So, like, if you're typically learning, if babies learn how to speak at like 18 months, a year and a half, or 2 years, whatever, it gets expedited if you just teach them sign language first. And had we not developed sign language, had there not been children who required sign language to be taught, we would have never known that. And so because of that, in my opinion, now we're going to have an this is a recent thing, like this last decade, that we started implementing sign language in children as like a recommended thing to do, from a public standpoint. We're going to get a generation that's way more lingually advanced, better at communicating, and we won't know the effects of that for another like 10-15 years. But that's something that stemmed from a disability, American Sign Language, or not American Sign Language, period. So there's so many
I don't
other
know.
things.
I would like to imagine that even without deaf people, we would still create sign language.
You think so? You think so?
Yeah.
Because think about like how we develop. We start with pictures on the wall, bro. We
Yeah.
saw hieroglyphs, and then think about how that developed. At no point did we have sign language over the thousands and thousands of years. No sign language because it's inefficient. So we think, because we gain a voice. Once we gain a voice, why would we use a less efficient way to speak? Because as capable adults, we go to the path of least resistance. We needed a resistance to create a system that would isn't made for us as capable adults, but for babies it is the most efficient. But we're not making things for babies. We barely understand babies right now. We still don't know that. But you look at sign language, it's like we had thousands and thousands of years of language, and no point was sign language ever like a primary or even like a rooted communication system in any regard. Yeah, there were symbols, right? Like you could throw hand signs and military kind of things, but it wasn't like a system that was noted to a like hieroglyphs, right? We know that, right? Because it takes a developed visual cortex. It takes like hand signals, right? Or not hand signals, dexterity, right? But then what if you don't have hands? Then you develop a verbal system, right? Verbal is first, obviously. But that's what I'm talking about. Once we're restricted in a lot of regards, then we come up with the best solutions. And that's what I think about it, right? If you think about competition, a lot of the innovation in our world comes from people who struggled in life, right? A lot of the entrepreneurs, a lot of the people that end up creating the biggest changes, they're people who did not have everything when they were younger. There were people who struggled a lot, and then because of that struggle, they ended up coming out stronger in a lot of ways. That's why competition is really good. It's just that our society sucks at it. We're inefficient in all regards.
As far as like handling like sign language goes, I was thinking more of like hand signs, right?
Yeah.
Because surely, like, I mean, we already have it where people like have the okay, like I want this, I want that.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are able to communicate that already.
Yeah.
Like even without deaf people, I still believe that we would have come to some point where somebody would make a universal sign language.
So the here's where sign language primarily, yes, was made from
But not as like in depth as it is now.
and that's the important part. One, the depth of it, but then also the the access and the the widespreadness of it, right? Because I mean, growing up, we learned that Helen Keller was essentially the reason why it became such a
Dude,
huge thing, and
Helen
so many
Keller,
people, right, learned
she's such a
about it.
big meme.
Yeah, memes aside, right? She was like alive not too long ago, right? Like I feel like she passed away fairly recently. I feel like just like the Rosa Parks. But that aside, it's like think about it like this: we there like I think in the last decade, so 2010 to 2022 or 2020, that's when we discovered babies had different cries. Like it took a neuroscientist to find out that they had different cries. In that same era of acknowledgement, there was people who realized that you could teach babies sign language as complex of I need to go poop, I need to eat, I need to I'm like I want this toy, I want to do this, I want to sleep. Like that's how complex like an infant baby can be with sign language. And they can start learning the alphabet. When you start learning the alphabet, you start learning the alphabet in like first grade kindergarten, that age, right? No, you can teach the alphabet as early as that. And my wife actually has experience with that. She was a child care assistant for 10 years. And so she worked with a bunch of kids, primarily disabled kids. And uh most recent one, she they learned like sentences within the first year of life. And I'm like, that's great. Not first year, after year one. And like they could communicate. I was like, wow, that's crazy. Every time I visited them, they were more and more competent. And it was just like eye opening comparatively to other kids. Cause like we know a lot of kids who are just like 1 to 2, they're like almost nonverbal compared to these girls actually that my wife ended up teaching. And our son's almost at that point where he's just like already communicating, which is honestly scary. It's kind of scary, but it's
He'll surpass you one day.
yeah, sign language. I mean, yeah, I mean that's the
He's
play,
evolving
right?
exponentially.
I didn't know sign language. I still don't know sign language, but like the fact that they could learn the alphabet so early, man, that's so exciting. That's so exciting to me. Yeah.
It's I mean it's crazy, bro.
Hopefully
We're
we do
just
better
we're just here.
for the next generations, right? And think we're hitting the 2 hour mark with this
2 hour
call.
mark. Oh
Yeah.
Jesus.
This one's a little
Well, over
exciting.
a little over 2 hours.
Yeah, a little bit over. The third episode special. So fun fact, did you know that I think it's like 97% of podcasts I think don't get to the third episode.
I have personal experience with that.
I actually no, my other podcast we got to the third episode, but then we stopped for other reasons. We were gonna continue, but yeah.
My podcast stopped because we would have gotten canceled hardcore. It was too goofy.
You guys would have like even if you had
It
five
was
viewers,
good. It was good though.
even if you had 5 years, you'd have gotten canceled based off what you told me. Like that shit's
We
crazy.
had some good conversations. It was the goofiest things out there.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like a comedy podcast though, more than anything.
Yeah, that's a. I mean, when Dave Chappelle's out there, how can you get canceled, right?
I believe in Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, a lot of
Free the
people
boy.
don't. A lot of
He's
people.
good. He's a good guy.
Oh my goodness, it's so crazy that like that Netflix special had a 0%. Like like that mind blows me that at I don't know if it still does, but I remember at one point it had a 0%
Did it really?
rating or something like that. Yeah, it was like it. I think it is definitely like 0%. At one point, it definitely hit zero or something like that, meaning
I
like
don't.
nobody liked it.
Because apparently they were an Emmy nominee.
I mean, you don't have to be liked to be nominated for those things.
I thought it was good. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I think what it is like, people. He's gray area, but like not just gray area. It's like he makes everything gray area, and you may not be in that gray area. So if you're not in that gray area with him, and you don't understand that gray area, uh, you will be offended 100%. I remember I feel like I showed my wife some clips. I was like, it's because he's too mainstream, right? Like there's a bunch of smaller comedians who would make that same joke, but it's because it was a Netflix special, and Netflix is so broad that I feel like that's why
Yeah.
it's a
I think
huge
it's
issue.
funny because like Netflix employees were like, "I'm leaving the company because we're airing this."
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like, "See you later, bozo."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think both of us have enough content creation practice at this point to understand a decent amount of the line, right? It'll take 3 or 4 years for us to get canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah, by then we might retire anyways, right?
We'll be long gone.
Yeah, and who
Well,
knows if Sai doesn't go to the doctors and
it
but
could be
even
it could be 1 year. Who knows?
and even if I
The
do go to
clock's
the
ticking.
doctors, I mean to be fair, I did get really good news from doctors recently. Doctors apparently were like, "Yo, there because stress kind of exacerbates the imaging, in my case usually, um, but and given I'm a new dad, they were like, we thought that we'd get more of the same, but your whole health situation for the first time has decreased, or became less risky for the first time." I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, and I guess it's the power of being a dad. And I'm like, that is incredible to hear. So
Instead, there's an alternate reality out there where they're like, "No, it's the hair of the dog." Have you been drinking alcohol?
yo, there's I think, oh man, how many different things that we lay out to talk about? There was the ancient aliens thing, transformers, right? That's a cool one that we could talk about.
Mantis shrimp.
Mantis shrimp. Um, yeah, there's a bunch of things that we could talk about. Let us know in the comments. Um,
What should we expand upon?
what should we expand upon? Also, so given that this is the third episode, we are gonna, especially if you're listening to this point, we are going to transition this to its own channel right now. If you're listening to this on my VODs channel, please go like subscribe to the Spotify link that we have. Give it a 5 star so we can start being listed on the platforms. Um, and soon this will have its own YouTube channel so that you guys can see the videos. Um, and then on top of that, like we mentioned, like during the thing, we're gonna make its own Discord. Right now we don't have that. We have our own Discords at the moment. So I think right now just join one of our Discords to talk about the 50/50 podcast. I think that's the best thing to do, especially if we do like an ancient aliens watch party kind of thing, and then we talk about it on the next episode. Um, but other than that, that would be the best way to stay notified, because sooner or later I'm not going to be posting this on my personal VOD or Parvision VODs channel. It'll be on its own thing. So if you're
Separate
like,
YouTube channel.
so if you're wondering like, oh wait, where did the podcast go, get linked up to all the other places, and then soon by episode 4 or 5 it should be, the 50/50 podcast should have all of its own channel, its own home, its own Discord. Though it may not be as maintained as our primary things at the moment, sooner or later it will be.
It'll be there
It'll be there,
eventually.
right? Yeah, Sai and I do have intentions to have this conversation going, because as crazy as it sounds, you know what's crazy? I just want to I just want
So
to acknowledge this. I just want to acknowledge this thing. This episode absolutely not scripted. The first episode, it was none of these episodes were scripted. The first episode was lightly guided by some things that we were like, oh, let's just talk about some things, right? The second episode was less guided, or was more guided, but we just went off the rails. Like we didn't even go through the
That was a fun one.
10 checklist. Love it, right? This one was the least scripted of all. We literally were like, do you have anything to talk about? And he's like, nah. And I was like, nah, me neither. And then he's like, all right, cool. Do you want to figure something out before the call? He's like, no, just start recording. And then we did. But you know what? This one was like the most, like, everything ended up connecting so crazily. Like the Transformers thing ended up like connecting every talking point that we had. It almost felt like we planned it. Like if this is another podcast, you know, like the fake ones out there that like script out their entire show and it's not real or genuine, because that's what most podcasts are. But we're not like that because we're the 50/50 podcast. We give you the genuine ADHD brain tangent randomness. That's what we're all about. That's the product we're selling here, right, Sai?
It's yeah. We're selling it at a low fee of subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And rate us 5 out of 5 so that we
Yeah.
can take over the world with the 50/50 podcast.
Hey, but with that being said, wait, what's up?
Oh, I was gonna also say, and then we can get sponsors, and then we can keep the show going.
Eventually,
forever.
we'll take over the world.
Exactly.
Joe Rogan, watch out. He's gonna have to sleep with one eye open.
Exactly. 50/50 versus Joe Rogan.
Well, with that being said, hey, thank you guys for tuning in for this episode. Make sure to leave a like and everything. Just boost the algorithm a little bit, right? I mean, we're gonna put it on a different channel, but it helps this channel, it'll help get the 50/50 name out there.
Yeah.
The minute when your grandma and neighbors start talking about us, that's how you know we made it.
Yep. There's gonna be a lot of exciting things. So appreciate you guys listening for the 2 hours. And let us know also if you preferred, like the previous 2 episodes were 1 hour 40 minutes. That's a good amount of time. Or if you guys want longer, however it is, these podcasts are just us talking. So
It just ends whenever. We don't have like a time limit necessarily.
Yeah. Some people want us to have an outro credit type thing, so maybe I'll just put together something so that like we could just end it and be like peace out, and then it's just like our faces bouncing around or something like that on the video.
It could be like clickbait, like some girl in like pajamas just dancing.
Yeah. Well, or like, and we need like music. I got an idea. I got some ideas cooking. We'll figure it out. I just
the
need
music's
time.
gonna be like a cacophony of like random things falling down the staircase.
Sure. You know what? Give us all the random sounds that you'd want in the outro.
Random sounds, random images, and we'll just throw it into an intro.
Yeah, we'll
or
figure
outro.
out. I'll figure it out. Give me 2 weeks. Give me some time, and then I'll
I believe in it.
Yeah, we'll get it. We're creative people, right? We have YouTube channels. We can.
Yeah. It'll be like a 3-headed dog person.
Yeah. So with that, have a good night,
Elmo's
guys.
Fire.
Oh my god, that's actually gonna be in a future YouTube video, actually, or one of my One Piece theories.
Saint Elmo's Fire.
Yeah, spoilers.
That's kind of
it's
cool.
an exciting one. All right, so with that, guys, thank you guys for listening. Have a good morning commute, rest your day, work day, nighttime. Maybe you're already asleep because you put us on at the very end, and apparently you guys like listening to our voices to put you guys to sleep, which is fair. So have a good night and sweet dreams.
Go to the doctor.